And we are live.
This is the sound check. The sound check portion of the show.
Yes, as Dave said, this is the sound check portion of the podcast. So let us know how we sound, folks.
Sound check.
And we'll get started here in the next couple of minutes.
Is there something wrong with my voice?
I don't think there's anything wrong.
I'll do the whole show like this.
The most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
I don't know if I could do the whole show like that. that would be hard. Oh, God.
So, little public service announcement for everybody out there. Just bought these today. So, the Yingling Hershey's Porters are back on store shelves.
Yes.
For those here in the Northeast, at least.
Yep.
If you're on the West Coast, sorry, bro.
I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit on the show.
Sure.
Little Yangling plug. Click, click, click. 3 clicks?
Sounds about right.
Okay. Yeah. You're clicking in Morse code now?
Yeah.
Start doing that.
Maybe.
Be disappointed that we missed out on the Morse code for when we went to radio school. We only missed it by a couple years.
No.
No?
Not at all.
It's a skill that I wish I had.
But why?
Tevin. What's up, Tevin?
What purpose does it serve?
I mean, back in the day, it used to be, for encode decoding for...
During World War II?
Well, I mean, also yes, in World War II. But, when you're flying up on an ILS, there's a reason that you hear the VOR and the TACANs and everything else. You didn't have accurate positions. So you dial in, you'd listen for which one you were going towards.
I get it, but I mean, times have changed, and in this case, it's probably just time to move on.
I mean, I guess. It's a dying art, much like other things. Oh, anyway. I'm going to be burping Hershey's. That's going to be the theme.
Dave likes Hershey.
Who doesn't? Oh, wait. That you know what? Never mind. Going down the Hershey Highway.
Something like that.
Hershey Highway. Going down the Hershey Highway.
Oh, man. I've missed this.
Real man of genius.
Now,
going down the Hershey Highway.
You remember what the original title of those was? Real American Heroes.
I thought it was Real Men of Genius.
No, because in 2000, it was Real American Heroes, and early 2001. Then September 11th happened. We start going to war, and they're like, Real American Heroes, probably not the best.
Right. For random fucking people.
Yeah, so they changed it to Real Men of Genius. But I still remember when it was Real American Heroes. Mr. Footlong Hot Dog Inventor.
It was a great commercial.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready when you are. If the sound is good.
Yeah, no, I meant to do something and I completely lost my train of thought.
Do you have this or that?
That's what I was doing, and then we started talking about Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
And then I totally lost it.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. Pepperidge Farm is right there in right off the turnpike in PA. I drive by it all the time when I'm heading out to State College.
Awesome.
Pepperidge Farm Drive. You see right there, right there on the hill. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
It doesn't matter who does the toast. We already know what it's about. So
I'll let you do it.
All right.
I think it's your turn anyway.
Sure. We'll go with that.
It's your turn.
Okay. Well, give me a countdown whenever you're ready, and we'll get it started. We'll get it started in here.
All right. Let me just make sure I'm going to read the right thing. Make sure I'm reading the right thing first. Okay, cool. I'm ready.
All right. Give me a countdown.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I want those boots. And toi.
Colin Powell.
Colin Powell.
May he rest in peace, Colin Powell, who served this country in one form or another damn near his entire life.
Yeah.
Very entrenched in politics in the later years of his life. General during the Gulf War.
Yep.
Yeah. He passed away today. We found out at the age of 84, I believe. And oh man, the worst of it is, it was from complications due to COVID.
Yeah.
And come to find out, he was already vaccinated. So, like, so much to unpack here. But the unfortunate reality of this is people are going to start using this as part of the whole anti-vax movement, I'm sure. Even though, despite the fact that he had cancer and, like, a compromised immune system and everything else, it's, unfortunately, I think the passing of this, you know, great person in our country's history is going to be overshadowed by the circumstances of his demise and the way it's going to kind of be used.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we'll see, right? It's still pretty fresh, and you know, I know for us as Gen Xers, right, the Gulf War was fresh for us because we were young. You know, let's see, high school, right? I was in high school.
I was in 8th grade when that kicked off.
And seeing on television, like, this is kind of the first time we're seeing, like, the generals, and, you know, you see Stormin' Norman Schwarzkopf, and you see General Powell, and, you know, you see these people on the screen kind of telling you what's going on with the military. This is the first time we've ever seen anything like that. Right. And then the imagery of what was going on with the Gulf War, we directly associated with them.
Yeah, and, you know, this was so many things going on. Like, first of all, this was the first war of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
As Gen Xers. So this was our first exposure. And the fact that it all happened on fucking TV.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It was very different. A different way of consuming war that would kind of carry on
for sure.
Forever.
And I think it was the palatability of what had happened. I mean, obviously it was quick when you went in there and, you know, stomped that ass.
Yeah.
And
mission accomplished.
And with Colin Powell, with characters like Colin Powell and Norman Schwarzkopf and representing themselves on television, you had people that Colin Powell obviously took this on later in his life, right? As the first African American Secretary of State, right? He was continuing to represent traditionally generals don't act as secretaries of state, right?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, the Department of Defense and the Department of State don't necessarily get along. They don't tend to share points of view. But you had somebody like Colin Powell who could operate in that capacity and operate well in that capacity and was well respected.
Yeah.
He was a great American. In fact, on a recommendation of an Australian of all people in my squadron, who had just recently read one of his books from 2013, I downloaded it for Audible. He said it was very, very good, and it's got like 4.7 stars, like 2,600 reviews. I should really, if I'm going to say shit like that, I should have it ready to talk about.
Get your sources straight.
Yeah, what the fuck over.
Yeah.
The book is called Professionals.
While he's looking that up, is my mic better now? I've already gotten a mic check message in the chat. Apparently my mic was fucked up, so.
The book was called It Worked For Me. It's written and narrated by Colin Powell, so I'm excited for that. It's not very long, you know, it's an 8
like your
hour.
dick.
Well, that's what she said. Stonebleeds, you weren't around for the Falklands. Like, listen, that's a conversation. It's a whole nother conversation for another time. We can talk about Margaret Thatcher at some other point.
Now it says you're quiet, so check your your mic. Of course, we're having issues. Like, why not?
Well, the studio's been dormant for a few weeks.
Yeah, we got to wake up all the equipment.
So the equipment's like, oh shit, oh god, it's got to stretch. It's old, like we are.
Indeed.
So that being said,
hello everyone, and welcome to the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, the joys of stand-up comedy and the people that it offends, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I'm Mr. Jason Roskam. With me here each and every single week, the Bill Burr to my Dave Chappelle, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
I'll take that. Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I am here. I am awake. I am enjoying a Hershey's seasonal beer.
Yes, so the Yangling seasonals are back. The Hershey's that I completely missed last year, the only one that I got to drink was thanks to Big Swede, who came here and visited us in the studio at one point last year. So I found some in the store today, and I fucking snapped that shit right up. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what we're drinking tonight. And what are we talking about tonight, Dave?
Whatever the fuck we want. This is we have one episode that we were able to tape because I was on vacation over the past couple weeks. We took an off week, and then I was on vacation, and then we had this week, and then Jason's got to go fart around in class, and he's going to talk about that later. Yep. And then we're going to come back after a couple more weeks. But rather than fucking stress about a topic or anything else, we're just going to shoot the shit. Yeah. We're going to shoot the shit for a couple hours.
But we've got some random topics to talk about as we go along.
We've got some one-liners that we're going to go through.
Yes, some things that have happened in pop culture and politics and everything else. So we'll just hit on some individual topics. Hopefully generate some good conversation. Hopefully you guys like it. And if you don't, well, I mean, what are you going to do? This is what we're doing. So
I do want to, for Don Solsky from the Escape Pod, congrats, his son just graduated boot.
Navy, right?
Navy, yeah. Navy. It's a choice.
It is a choice. You can choose that.
You can choose that. And he did. Go Navy, get him goat. And look, I'm a Navy brat, so I think any choice you make to serve your country is a good one.
That's fair.
And the Navy is the second best service, in my opinion.
Yeah. Obviously, Air Force being number one.
Air Force being number
Coast Guard doesn't count because they're not a real service.
Correct. And Space Force isn't a real service either.
Yeah.
Honestly, that needs to start. That needs to start right away. This idea that the Space Force is going to start getting traction as being a legitimate service. Mm-hmm. No.
Well, they made a mistake when they didn't put all the fucking cybersecurity shit under Space Force.
Yep.
No, Air Force is no, we're going to keep all the cybersecurity stuff. Well, what the fuck? It's cyberspace.
No, don't want to do it. No, yeah. They want to do shit that doesn't make any fucking sense in the real world.
Yeah.
Right? So they want to have fucking goofy ass uniforms. You have opportunities to have legitimate uniforms. Instead, you decided to have Isaac Asimov fucking design your uniforms. Okay, whatever. Go do your thing. You're not a real service. Go away. Anyway.
Wow, that just totally threw me off track. So, do we want to start with this or that, or do you want to do some Red 5?
I gotta read. All right,
stuff. Why don't you start with some Red 5 before we get into this or that?
Jeez, Dave. Fucking. Before I'm supposed to. I'm gonna read this, because we don't pimp ourselves enough. Is really what it comes down to.
Sure.
So you can find us on Facebook. You can find us at the Sidebar Cantina in our Facebook group.
Yeah, private Facebook group.
The Sidebar Cantina.
If we like you, we'll let you in.
Yeah, because the only functioning Facebook presence that I have is in the Cantina.
Yeah, and even that's pretty limited for me these days.
Instagram, search for us at the Sidebar Cantina.
C.
3PO. Discord, the Sidebar Cantina. Again, you look for our server, and I think that's by approval. I don't remember. Twitter, we are not just this Just Sidebar Cantina. Sidebar Cantina. Not just Sidebar Cantina. As far as merch goes, we have TeePublic. For some reason, our store doesn't come up in their search, but click the link tree in any of our social media bios. You can find t-shirts, hoodies, and a wide variety of designs, sizes, and colors for the entire family. There are also Sidebar Cantina face masks, tote bags, phone cases, and exclusive stickers and pins, just about anything you can imagine. Feel free to tag us with your merch so Lunar Girl can share it on the socials. Reviews, Lunar Girl is dying to throw stickers. Do we have any 5-star reviews?
I haven't looked.
Lunar Girl is dying to throw stickers at you. She is, actually. Leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app. Screenshot it and DM us. That's a great idea. The screenshot. It's a good idea. DM us your pick on Instagram or Twitter. You will have your Sidebar Cantina stickers in the mail the next day. And we will read your review word for word on our next episode. I will read anything that's on a teleprompter. It's that easy. Or, I'm sorry. It's that easy! You can write one sentence or an entire page, whatever your heart desires. So, getting to Red 5, which was the whole purpose of this read, the Parsecs Award votes are tallied and being assigned to different Red 5 podcasters to be announced. There will be skits and segments. It's going to be a whole award show. It's going to be a whole thing. Good times to be had, so stay tuned to Lunar Girl's updates on the socials. Lunar Girl is plugged directly into the Red 5 network.
Like the Matrix.
Yes, metaphorically speaking. More on Red 5 happenings after the show. If you're looking for Red 5, I know in the past we pinned to Red 5 Network. Go to red5.com, red5network.com. Don't do that now. Go to bio.link/Red5, and you will see all of the Red 5 Network, all 30 some odd shows that are there, and find the ATSW Escape Pod, and find the Use and Abuse podcast. And also, you will find us in that link, and you will do it. And I am done reading until the end of the show.
Lots of fun stuff going on in the chat. Also, if you don't subscribe to us on YouTube, that's where the real fun happens, as we record live every Monday night, and there's all kinds of pimpin' ain't easy talk going on in the chat. One person wants Hank Hill to talk about pimping not being easy.
Remind me at the end of the show.
All right, so we'll do that at the end of the show. In the interim, we have a segment on the show that we call This or That we do, where our social media director,
Easy for you to say.
Indeed, Lunar Girl, puts up a poll, and she gives you two options, and you pick one, and we go over the results here on the show. And what is our Instagram, Dave?
At the Sidebar Cantina.
I intentionally waited until you took a drink.
That's a good job.
So, all right. So, this is a bit of a Halloween candy kind of theme going on this time. So, we've got favorite pop, which means like lollipop, sucker kind of thing, with the yummy center. So, we've got Blow Pops or Tootsie Pops.
Okay.
Two very different types of, we call them suckers in my hometown in California. But, yeah, Blow Pops and Tootsie Pops. Both very popular for our generation.
We call them pops or lollipops.
Okay.
Tootsie Pops is what I went with. But, I mean, that's the personal preference. Like, especially in Halloween, I wanted the Tootsie Pops for the chocolatey goodness in the center. Yeah. And plus, you had the commercials, right? 1, 2,
yeah. The fucking owl.
3.
3.
But funny story. Like, so in, I think it was middle school, there was this whole scandal, air quote, that kids, what would happen is kids were like kind of bulk buying these Blow Pops, and they were selling them in the school, and kids were buying Blow Pops, and they were like, they were eating them in school, and apparently it was going on for a couple of months, and they had this like Blow Pop lockdown. And it was might as well have been fucking heroin or something. Like, there was like locker searches for Blow Pops.
What?
It was a whole fucking thing, dude. I shit you not. It was a whole fucking lockdown for goddamn candy.
Well, I could tell stories about my best friend Rob growing up. He had this little gum selling ring for a while in middle school, like 7th and 8th grade, where he would bulk buy like gum and he'd sell it to the other kids at like a massively inflated price. he like funded like back in the day, because again we didn't have jobs or anything, but video games still costed like $50 for the NES.
Yep.
And he bought like 2 NES games based solely off of the profits that he made off of fucking selling gum to other kids. Fucking brilliant. So for me, I actually didn't do this poll because I've been really kind of off social media and everything lately, which we'll talk about that when we get to my week. If I had to pick, I'd also pick Tootsie Pops, but I did go through a blow pop phase in kind of middle school, high school time frame, where, you know, I loved blow pops. But the funny thing about blow pops, I don't know if you remember, is, you know, as you'd be like sucking on them, for some reason they would like dissolve unevenly and you'd get these real sharp ridges, and they'd cut the fuck out of the inside of your mouth. Yeah. It's like, what the hell,
they
man?
turn into weapons.
Yeah, yeah.
Weapons and whistles.
But I loved the gum in the middle during that time frame. But like overall, as an adult, I'd go Tootsie Pop for sure.
Absolutely.
So, all right, which fun-sized candy bars did you like getting more, the Snickers or the Kit Kats?
I went with Kit Kat.
Yeah, I did not become a Snickers fan until way later in life.
Yeah.
Earlier in life, I loved Kit Kats.
Yeah, I still, I mean, there's a moment there where I think I want a Kit Kat. And honestly, it's like when I'm at the Betty White, you know, in those commercials where it's like, you know, what's that commercial? It's a Snickers commercial.
Yeah, they were Snickers commercials where it was like, they felt like a celebrity or something like that.
It was Betty White, and she's in like this football huddle, and she's like, I don't know,
not feeling yourself or whatever.
Not feeling yourself or whatever. It's just like, she says something where it's like, that's not what your mom said last night, and they're like, whoa, here, have a Snickers.
Yeah,
and then he turns into a person like
a normal person.
Yeah, that Snickers does that every once in a while, especially like golfing. Like, if you didn't eat, the Snickers bar kind of hits different.
Yeah,
where a Kit Kat bar really wouldn't satisfy you.
Right, and that
Snickers really satisfies you.
Yeah, because that was the big ad campaign. Is like, you know, it's packed with peanuts and all this other stuff to kind of like fill you up more than a normal candy bar would, and they're not wrong.
And it does. It really does. It's definitely more filling than a normal candy bar.
Yeah. But Kit Kats are so good.
Yeah, if you're gonna put a pile of candy in front of me, I'm going for the Kit Kat 9 times out of 10.
Yep, and I forgot
unless there's Reese's peanut butter cups in there.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other discussion. We forgot to give the percentages. Tootsie Pops won in their poll 67% to 33%, and in this one, Snickers won 54% to 46%. So that was close.
It's respectable.
The party favors: caramel apples versus candy apples. Never big on either, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick caramel apples.
Yeah. Candy apples are caramel apples' fucking dirty step cousin. I mean, it's like...
Yeah, and the masses thought so too. 78% for caramel apples, 22% for candy.
Candy apples are what you would go to the store and, you know, the poor kids would get.
What the... Oh, okay. So this is like, which one of these is a hard no? And this is going to actually lead into our final talking point when it comes to Halloween candy. The peanut butter kisses, not Hershey kisses, but those fucking things.
Yeah, those.
Just for the home audience, the top one there.
That
bullshit.
The orange and black.
Just mush of gunk.
Yeah.
Nasty tasting gunk.
It's like peanut butter-ish material.
Yeah.
Wrapped in wax paper that's either black or orange.
Yeah, which those things were fucking nasty.
I don't even know where you buy them. Have you ever seen them for sale anywhere?
No, but I'm sure probably back in the 80s when I fucking saw these things everywhere, it was probably like a bag of those for like 15 cents. And that's why all these motherfuckers bought them and gave them out.
Is there a senior citizen center that like has a stockpile of them?
Probably.
They would just like take a bus there.
Oh, Billy would like these.
I'm going to fill this up and give them all to Jimmy when he comes to the door.
Yeah. No, I fuck you, Ivo. No, but those things were nasty. I ate them like once ever as a kid and never again. Every time I would get those in subsequent years, just right in the fucking trash.
Yeah, no, fuck those things.
But candy corn, like, who doesn't like candy corn? But we'll talk about that later. The peanut butter kisses only won 54% to 46%.
Really?
Which, like, blows my fucking mind right now.
Huh.
So
interesting.
This is an interesting one. Now that you've grown up, what's your favorite warm beverage? Pumpkin spice latte or mulled cider?
Mold cider?
Mulled, M-U-L-L-E-D.
Mold.
Mold. That's what I said.
Mold.
Mold.
with a U.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No,
What does it sound
you're
like?
saying it like mold.
No, it's
like-
mold. What?
Mold.
Whatever, water boy. For me, I'd pick the pumpkin spice latte.
It's cider.
Okay. Cider won 61% to 39%.
Cider's superior.
All right, fair enough. So the last portion of this was she did a poll, mostly for the Red Fivers, or as on behalf of the Red Fivers, candy corn, nature's perfect corn, or it's the devil.
So, this is very apparently there is a very this is a very binary subject.
I guess so.
I
love candy corn. I'm just gonna say it.
I'm not all right. I don't love candy corn. Okay, I don't love candy corn. I'm not going to actively seek out candy corn.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm not such a fan of candy corn that I will be like, oh, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to consume it. However, when candy corn is presented in a bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and there's other options that just don't excite me, and I'm like, oh, I want sugar, I'll have some candy corn.
Okay.
I won't not eat it.
Right. So
It's
you're
not
not.
like I'm going to put it in my mouth and go like, ah! No,
Right.
That's not going to happen. I'm like, oh, okay. Candy corn is the option. I'll eat some candy corn. But I'm not going to actively seek it out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's the devil.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, it's candy corn.
Yeah.
As a kid, I would get candy corn and I'd eat it down each layer.
Oh my god, I used to do that too.
Yeah.
I'd bite the top layer off, the yellow
Yep.
part, then I'd bite the orange layer off, and then you got the yellow part at the bottom. Oh my god, I totally do that too.
You bite in oh, here's one cavity, and then here's another cavity, here's another cavity. All right? Because you only got so much candy, right? So you
Oh yeah. Gotta savor that shit.
So, yes, the idea that there's so much fucking angst about the candy corn.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Remarkable.
Like, where's all the anger coming from?
I think that some kids got candy corn forced upon them. Like, this is the candy that you will consume.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is what you get. Like, no peanut M&Ms for you.
Mhm.
You're gonna get candy corn. And they go like, but I want peanut M&Ms. Like, no, candy corn.
Yeah.
That's what you get. Like, fuck you. I want the peanut M&Ms. Nope. And then they got waterboarded with candy M&Ms. Like, it's fucking candy M&Ms like pouring out of their mouths and shit. That's what I envision when people say they hate candy corn.
It's got to be. And then of course you've also got the little candy corn pumpkins also that. Yeah, it's basically the same.
Sugar.
It's the same material.
It's fucking. If you had sugar cubes and like, oh, a pile of sugar cubes, it's the same fucking thing. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
As an adult, if I'm looking at that, I'm like breaking it down into this is a sugar category. This is a sugar category. I want sugar. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being waterboarded with candy corn? Now I have this mental image. Where's Wally? Where's Wally getting waterboarded with candy corn?
There's an episode of The Simpsons, like going back to I think it was from the 90s, where it might even have been a Treehouse of Horror, where Homer died and went to hell.
Right.
And the devil's like, I'm going to use your favorite thing as a way to torture you. And it's like
it's a
donuts.
donut.
Right.
Yeah.
And they straps him to a fucking chair and he's like, haha, I'm going to force feed you donuts until you hate them. And he's just eating them and eating them and eating them.
Yep.
And the devil's like, what the fuck, man?
Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah.
Forbidden donut.
Exactly.
Yes, I have donut issues myself, so.
Do you?
Anyway.
Well, hold on. Now that we're talking about it, what are your thoughts on Krispy Kreme?
I like Krispy Kreme.
Okay.
I think a traditional Krispy Kreme donut, like just a regular glazed
The
Krispy Kreme
glazed.
donut, is a staple. This is a glazed donut. There's nothing wrong with that, especially hot now, like fucking perfect. Or you get it home, put it in a microwave for a little bit, get it warmed up. Good.
Yeah.
Mwah. It's a good donut.
Yeah.
Kathy went to she went apple picking with her sister and her nieces and nephew, and it was like down to Mullica Hill. Picked really, really good apples. I mean, like, I'm an apple snob. Like, this is a whole different sidebar.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That's
what this whole episode is.
Yeah,
So.
I love certain apples, right? Just regular fucking red delicious apples can like I just there's apples, different apples are definitely better than others.
I agree,
Right?
100%.
Gala apples to me are like the best ones. I really like Gala. The Fuji apples are good too.
I like the Fujis for sure. The standard red apples also, I'm just kind of like,
No, they're like they remind me of fucking school lunches. That's what it reminds me of. It's like I'm eating fiber, or I'm eating something that was meant to be on a fucking like a static display on a table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is like presentation fruit. This is not edible fruit. Whereas like a Gala apple is like, oh, there's like some different flavor to it. It's nice and juicy. These apples, for one, they're fucking huge. They're like softball size.
Yeah.
And they're fucking they're super sweet. It's almost like a grape flavor to it. Really, really good.
Yeah.
I highly recommend. They had apple cider donuts there as well. Ooh. Really, really good. Really good. So highly recommend. Yeah, I mean we could talk donuts all fucking day.
Which we've already started a debate in the chat, by the way. But we got to keep moving on. Yeah. Some people are saying Krispy Kreme sucks. Lunar Girl is speaking my changuage. The raspberry-filled Krispy Kreme donuts are the fucking shit.
They're good.
They are so good. That's my favorite by far.
Raspberry ones are tough though because they have to be fresh. Those that they can't really sit for very long.
Right.
Krispy Kremes.
Well, I felt like that about every Krispy Kreme donut.
Yeah, but the regular glazed ones you can bring back from the dead, right? You can after a certain point.
Sure.
Like, and I have. Trust me.
Clear.
Yeah. Honestly, my favorite Krispy Kreme is the chocolate covered cream filled. Like I could literally eat a half a dozen of those.
Yeah.
Like in less than 5 minutes, and I have, and I've won a considerable amount of money for it.
Oh yeah, we've had those conversations.
So, but yeah, chocolate covered cream filled, fucking the bomb, the bomb. Very, very good. But again, sugar. How do I want to consume my sugar? I want to consume it in this shape, with this consistency. Donuts.
Yeah. So, we ready to move on to our weeks?
Yeah, before we go donut hunting.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's do it.
That make for a great fucking episode. We'll go over to like Deluxe, get donuts from there. We'll go to McAllister's down the road, get some donuts from there.
Like contrast and compare.
Yeah,
and then eat them live. Eat them live here on the show.
Yeah, I mean,
which apparently Kristen says we still need to like just do a show where all we do is eat.
Yeah, apparently people love that shit.
Which I don't understand.
We could be the next Squid Game.
Oh my God. Hold that thought, because I have a discussion point in our main topic about that. So anyway, let's get into our weeks first. Brace yourselves, people. Things are going to get deep here. Obviously, we've been on a bit of a hiatus.
Right.
A lot of it was due to me and some of the mental stresses I was going through and everything. And I am sorry to report that the depression is still strong with this one. It hasn't fully gone away. It kind of comes and goes. Instead of being like day by day, it's now kind of minute by minute. 1 minute I'll feel fine. A few minutes later, I'll just feel like, ugh. Yeah. And it's been continuing constantly since the last time we talked about this.
Yeah. Sometimes it just be like that.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like maybe this is just a midlife crisis. Maybe that's what all of this is. It's because so much of like kind of what's been on my mind lately is this obsession with death. And I know we've kind of had these conversations before, but like it's on my mind a lot. Like it keeps me up at night thinking about it, thinking about, not only my own personal demise, but, a lot of what happens to us when we die. And then in a more even existential thought process, like what happens to the fucking universe at the end? Because dude, I've been going down some like crazy rabbit holes on YouTube and, researching like what a lot of scientists think is going to happen when the universe ends, so to speak. Right. And there's all kinds of crazy theories. The main theory now, though, which is like the most... Okay, let's back up for a second here. For years, and this was probably when I was the most content in life in general, that scientists believed that the universe was expanding, but that at a point it was going to stop expanding and it was going to kind of contract on itself.
Right.
And... from that singularity that it was of an infinite density to the Big Bang, and that the universe was going to expand and eventually kind of collapse back in on itself, back to that one singularity and kind of rinse and repeat. I was fine with that. But now the prevailing theory is that, as the universe is expanding, that it's constantly expanding and it's expanding at a faster rate.
Right.
And that eventually it's going to spread out so far that every galaxy cluster is going to be completely out of sight of every other galaxy cluster until every fucking star burns out, and all of existence is going to be nothing but burned out fucking matter.
Yeah, the idea that you're going to look up at this star field that you see in these billions of stars that you look up and see, and those stars are going to basically go further and further apart until there's nothing.
Yeah, because there's going to come a point where our local galaxy is the only thing that you're going to be able to see is what's within our galaxy, and you won't be able to see anything outside of that. And the people or whatever beings exist at that moment are going to think that the entire universe is only that galaxy, because you cannot see anything past that.
Yeah, which
is a depressing fucking thought. So I get into this whole thought process, and I'm not a religious person. I know that a lot of our viewers and listeners are very religious people, and they believe in a creator. God damn it! This fucking mic thing is annoying. But they believe in a creator and an afterlife and everything else, and I wish I had that, but I just don't.
Yeah.
I'll never have that kind of faith. I've always been a man of science, and the drawback of that is that I'm also of the belief that once we're dead, we're done. Mm-hmm. And I get obsessed with that. I get obsessed with the whole idea of just not existing after I die, and it's a super fucking depressing thought.
It is.
And it takes up so much of my thought and my brain, and it's
so I went through something similar, and it's a continuous loop, right? Because it's something that you kind of push forward, and we're logic based beings, right? Especially being in science, so we try, and we're going to learn as much as possible about these things, right? How the universe is expanding and everything else, because we want to understand what's going on around us to try and make us feel better about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Knowing full well that we can't change the outcome, but we want to feel better about what that outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
And having that knowledge somehow makes us feel better about what that outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
Excuse me. One of the things that I kind of started looking into, and we talked about this before, is getting into that Stoicism piece, with some philosophy, because the ancient thinkers, right, the Aristotle, the Sophocles, and all those people, they were some of the greatest minds of their generations that were doing the math and inventing the math that ultimately leads to where we are now.
Yeah.
They were having these same thoughts. They weren't deeply religious people, because they're the same people that believed that there was fucking dozens of gods and fucking all this other bullshit was going on, right? All that was going on around them, but at the same time, they were very pragmatic in their thinking. And a lot of it, they were obsessed with their death. They were obsessed with their own death. And honestly, the core of a Stoic is really about making sure you live a life that when you die, that you can be like, all right, cool, I'm good. Yeah. If it happens tomorrow, I'm good, right? And that you have to be, mentally, you have to be like, okay, if it happens right now, I'm good with that. So what does that mean? Does that mean that you have to, hug your kids more? Does that mean that you have to, fucking feed homeless people? Does it mean that you have to, whatever that is, you have to figure that out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to know that this is kind of the goal you're working towards. Okay, what's going to make me feel like, okay, I'm bettering myself so that I can put my head on a pillow and go, this is where I'm at. And you can't go so far forward to worry about that other stuff, because whether you believe in a creator or any of this other stuff, I mean, the reality is you have to be comfortable with where you are right now, because otherwise you're not. It's the existence and how you're sitting with yourself right now, it affects your future self.
Yeah.
So getting to a point where it's like, okay, and I think with you in particular, I think a lot of it has to stem from, you hurt your shoulder. You were working out a lot.
Yeah.
You were feeling really good about where you were with your body and everything else.
Yeah, none of this shit was on my mind at that point.
Right. And I think when you weren't able to work out, and it kind of it slowed you down to a point where now these things are you start to think about these things, because ultimately, like, yeah, you're in your mid 40s, right? These things are, it's a reality for us. We're watching, like, shit, the death of Colin Powell. Yeah, he's in his mid 80s, but for us, we're thinking about death more because it's tangible to us.
Right,
like,
because
gray hair, fucking, it hurts to get out of bed in the morning. Like, these are real things.
And it's not outside of the realm of possibility to say that there are now fewer days ahead of us than there are behind.
Sure.
Being in our mid 40s.
Absolutely.
And that's a depressing thought.
And yeah, and for me, I look at, okay, I know how long my grandfather lived, right? And I can only hope to, that's kind of my, like, if I can get to there.
That's the same thing that I do. Like,
Yeah.
I look at my grandparents and how long they lived, and I kind of base my existence on
My
that.
grandmother's 97.
That's awesome.
Like, dude, if I can make it to then, and here's what's astounding, and this is what this is something that I want you to do, like, from this point forward. Think about where we are right now with the medical technology compared to where we were 30 years ago.
Sure.
And what you can do, like, living longer through science is a reality. For us to sit here in our 40s, our life is going to be like in 30 years is not going to look anything like what a 70-year-old's life looks like now.
That is true, but in the end, you can try to fend off death with medicines and new technologies, but in the end, time is going to hunt you down, and it's going to make the kill.
Yeah, sure. But I want to be able to, my goal is I want to be able to play golf into my 80s. That's my goal.
That's awesome. And
I'm going to get shots, I'm going to get surgeries, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I need to do to make that happen until my body gets to a point where it says, no, you can't do this.
Where,
like, I'll deal with that.
Like, you wake up every day and you're like, fuck yeah, I made it another day. Let's hit the course.
That's definitely not me. I mean, I struggle, dude. I struggle.
Yeah.
And I'm medicated heavily.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I spent an hour on the phone with a psychiatrist today, or psychiatrist today. But that's a key part of it too.
Yeah.
I think, something that quite poignantly today, we think that we're going through these struggles alone. I mean, damn well that I go through this same type of shit.
Oh, sure. This is all kind of, well, I wouldn't say it's new for me, but it's never been this pronounced for me before.
I know people listening to this that go through similar things. Fucking Lane Johnson of the Philadelphia Eagles, somebody who's got life by the fucking balls.
I saw that article, yeah.
Yeah, and he missed 3 games because of his mental health.
Yeah.
He had to basically take a knee and go take care of his family and get his head right so he can get back in the game. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do to kind of get recaged and find what you're there for. Then that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and just for me, I don't know what the path forward is yet, because right now, like I said, nothing's getting better. It's just, I'll have some good minutes and some bad minutes, and now I have not hit those rock bottom moments like I got to that I talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I haven't gotten that low.
Right.
But it's still.
Honestly. Real talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what started all this?
Go ahead.
Your hair.
You think so?
Your hair. As soon as you start growing your hair.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a symbolic thing that, I need to, once I shave it, then I'll all of a sudden start feeling better.
Yep.
I noticed somebody like right away in the chat mentioned it too. I think it was Bronco Fett.
Yeah, it's like the reverse Samson.
I don't get the reference.
Samson.
I want to talk to Samson. Fly me to the moon like that bitch Alice Gray. No?
No. Samson was one of the Greek. One of those fucking demigods that all his power was in his hair.
Huh.
So
for me, it's like the opposite.
opposite.
All my power is in the baldness.
Yes.
All right.
And let's with your shoulder, right? You get some physical therapy. Now you can like touch your head and potentially shave it again.
Yeah.
So that means you're healthy enough to get your arms up in the air.
So
come on.
Well, that's actually a good segue into something that happened recently because, for the most part, yes, my shoulder has been feeling good. But yesterday, I did this thing in New Jersey that we call, as part of the National Guard, called the Governor's Review. And where we get into formation and we do a lot of things. We do a lot of saluting, right? First time I'd done anything like this in a while. And just that morning, I was thinking as I was driving out to Seagirt, like, oh, man, my shoulder's been feeling pretty good lately. So we're in formation, and I go up to do my snap salute, and I'm like, ow, that fucking hurt. So shoulder isn't 100% by any stretch.
But it got to a point where it was getting better. Like,
yeah,
physical therapy got it better.
Yeah, I still think physical therapy is a fucking racket, but it's whatever. It's at least not working out is helping with the healing, probably,
right?
Which is also what's contributing to me feeling like an asshole.
Yeah.
But
promoting blood flow is always a good thing in that area too. So stretching, getting good blood flow.
No, I get it, but physical therapy, fuck that shit. I really think that it's just
so. Let me tell you when physical therapy is actually its most viable. Post surgery. Like I was a physical therapy hater. Before my first knee surgery, like, oh, go do physical therapy. And I'm like, this is making it worse. It fucking hurts.
Yes.
It's making it worse. I go have the knee surgery, and afterwards they're like, okay, go to physical therapy. And after a couple weeks of like bullshit, and I'm like, okay, all you're really doing is fucking making me bend it a couple times and icing it. I can do that at home.
Yeah.
So I was like, I blew it off. I was in pain forever. Fast forward to my second knee surgery, and I did the full course of physical therapy after that. Had no issues afterwards. Yeah. The difference was I went to a real like physical therapy center. Like I had legit physical therapy afterwards. Not on the base, like legit physical therapy afterwards. And it made all the difference in the world.
Nice.
So it can benefit.
All right.
Really can.
Yeah.
In fact, I know a guy that would be better for you than the base, and he's cheap.
If I can if I can get like a referral or whatever, but the bullshit on base, fuck that. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that. A couple other things I did this week, some things that really did kind of help pull me out for a little while is I actually had some social interactions with human beings. Like face to face. I know, it's very strange. But I have a friend at work, Brad, who I've talked about before. Kristen and I went to his house and played board games with him and his wife last week. And that was a really fun little gathering. They got young kids, though, so they couldn't start until after 8 o'clock, after they got the kids to bed.
Nice.
And, by 8 o'clock, we're like, oh, man, it's getting close to bedtime.
Right.
So we only got...
close to your bedtime.
Yeah, where them... Like, trust me, I remember, being in my 20s and early 30s, having infants, and just being like, fucking get them to bed, and then it's party time for the adults. But now that our kids are older, and we're getting older... Like, come 8 o'clock, I'm already thinking about bedtime. I'm already thinking about my nightly routine and everything else.
Right.
So, but, hanging out with these younger folks, it was interesting. But no, we had a good time playing board games with them. And then another coworker of mine had a birthday a few days ago, and she wanted to get together and have a bunch of board games and play some board games. So I did that this last Friday. But it was really good actually having some social interactions and playing games and having fun, and that time that I was there doing those things completely made me forget about all the bullshit going on in my head.
Good.
So
because we are social creatures, really, when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Human beings are social creatures, whether we like it or not.
And I'm sure that's a big contributor to that, is like my whole anti-socialism, and it's only gotten worse.
Is there? Can I? Have another, Can I have another fucking?
Yes,
chocolatey goodness.
Yes, you may. But you know, as introverts, it only gets worse when you start getting depressed and everything, and you really start to turn in. If I'm sure people have noticed that I've barely posted in the Sidebar Cantina or on Discord or anything else, because I've been so closed off. I don't want to interact with anybody. So getting into these social situations where I have to spend time with people face to face and play these games, it's been a big help, because when I get like this, I just get so drawn into myself, and I just don't want to do anything.
Right.
And social media is like the last place I want to be.
Yeah.
But anyway, you sort of alluded to this before, but I am leaving New Jersey for 2 weeks. I'm going down to Georgia. The devil is going down to Georgia. And I'm doing another certification course, because in my field of expertise, it's so reliant on certifications and having certifications and renewing those certifications, and then, you know, getting new certifications so you can renew those old ones. It's a whole bunch of bullshit.
Right.
I'm starting to think it's a big fucking racket, quite frankly.
It's a scam. It's always been a scam.
Yeah, but I have to go get a new one, so I'm going down to Georgia for 2 weeks, so we will not be recording another show until November 8th, and it's going to be a pain in the dick. I'm going to have a roommate. Like, that's the thing that kills me more than anything, is having to fucking share a room with some other random fuck. Like, I understand when I'm in my teens and 20s and everything, you have a roommate. It's the way it is, you know? You treat it like college, right? Like you're in a college dorm and you have parties and social shit. I don't want a room with somebody now. Like, I'm going to be 45 here in 2 months, and I really don't want to be sharing a room with some...
Dude, I told you how to solve this problem. You just stand there and you masturbate. Like, just wait for them to come in the door, and you just be standing there masturbating, like, and just look at them. And you just extend your right hand. I'm a lefty. Right? Immediately turns around and walks away. And if they stay, then you turn around and leave, because that's not going to be a good situation.
I don't even know what to say to that. Oh, maybe I'll try it. I don't know. Wow, you totally blew my train of thought. But yes, that's why we're not going to have a show for the next 2 weeks, because I'm going to be trying to get another certification. Pivoting real quick to fantasy football, it appears, barring a fucking miracle tonight, that I'm going to suffer my first loss in like a year in fantasy football.
He is fallible.
Who is fallible?
You.
Yes. So it appears that Lunar Girl might get the best of me this week. But don't worry. We have a rematch later on in the season, and I will get my revenge.
You have a 7% chance of winning.
Right. So basically, my defense needs to go apeshit, and the two people she's playing tonight need to die on the way to the fucking stadium.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I need Josh Allen to basically break his ankle on the way out of the tunnel into the fucking onto the field, and I need Julio Jones to fucking basically get 6 touchdowns.
Yeah. And of course, it's to somebody from the fucking booth in the back, because those fucks have been giving me shit for 6 weeks, and now one of them is going to break my fucking streak. So, whatever. Well played, Kelly. All right, I'll give you this one.
Well, she is part of the team as long as Jason doesn't win. So, which is all of us. Yeah,
whatever. You can all go fuck yourselves. Though I will say that between the two of us, nobody scored higher than either of us. Like, dude, we both brought our A game this week.
Yeah, Nick brought it up, man. It is the week of upsets as far as the league goes. Yeah. I think almost everyone, like, I'm going to lose, although there is a 6% chance. So
you're telling me there's a chance?
Hey, look, I think I have a better chance. I think I have a better chance than you do, because I have Julio Jones.
That is true.
And Julio's proved a lot in the past. I can't even.
He has a history of putting up points.
In 2017.
Yeah.
Which was. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck. Anyway.
Speaking of more years, last thing that I have before we pivot to you is I'm about to resign for 3 more years in the military. I've just recently passed my 20 years. I could retire. I could retire today if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But for some reason, silly me, I'm about to re-up for another 3 years. I had a talk with my commander a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I'm gonna stay in for a little longer.
But here's the thing: since you can retire, like those orders don't mean shit.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and that's the security blanket that I have, where if everything just completely goes to shit, I can just be like, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas most people don't have the freedom to do that. Obviously, the reason I'm staying in is there's one last rank I can make before I retire, and I have a decent shot of making it, so I'm gonna stay in. And if it looks like when the person ahead of me leaves, and if I don't get that, then I can just ride off into the sunset and move on to my next adventure.
Yep.
But for now, apparently I'm staying in, and I'm gonna.
Hey, it's guaranteed money for the next 3 years.
And I gotta admit, they're nice paychecks, so I can't really argue.
Yeah.
And the house needs a lot of work, so it would probably be in my best interest to stay in for now.
There are worse places to be in life. That is for sure.
Yep.
It's nice to have that security blanket where if everything goes to complete shit, it's like okay, I'm going to taps. I'm going to skill bridge. Peace out, bitches. I'm fucking done.
Yeah. So that's been my weird few weeks. What about you?
So what did I do? I went on a golf trip.
Yeah, the infamous annual golf trip.
The infamous annual golf trip. I'd love to say that I went down there and fucking spanked that ass. I didn't. I played terrible.
Yeah.
I played fucking terrible.
Well, but you also admitted that you hadn't really been able to play much leading up to it.
I hadn't played, and I always play. I go down there and play bad. I just do. It's tough to go down. The grass is different. Blah 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 blah. A lot of it has to do with like staying up late, drinking, being hungover.
Right.
I mean, not so much these days because we don't party or do anything else. I mean, most of the time we're in bed before midnight.
Yeah.
So that's not really the excuse. Honestly, this year I think I played extra bad because my foot was all fucked up, and I didn't pay enough attention to it before I left. I went to the doctors and they were like, so I didn't really. I have plantar fasciitis.
Oh, dude, I've had that before. It fucking hurts.
It sucks, and it affected my golf swing a lot more than I care to admit. So I'm a golfer. I have excuses. I've as long as my fucking arms. So, but I think that was a big one. But you know what? I went down there with zero expectations. Like, it was really nice to go back on the golf trip, just to be. I pay a lot of money to get fucking abused, really, from New Englanders, because almost everybody down there's from fucking New England. But it's a good time. It really is. And I hardly was on social media at all. I was hardly on my phone at all.
Yeah.
Which was fucking fantastic. No work.
That was always a good thing.
Yeah. At least the old days when we had two phones, like you could put the other phone away when you were on leave, so you kind of avoided it.
Yeah. Which that was big because we were tied to that second phone.
Yep. And so these days, like the software we have is on our regular phones, so I had to be very deliberate as to not look at it. Like, you can set your thing to do not disturb and whatever, but occasionally I'd like get on there and look, and it's the same thing with social media. Like been in the same boat. I've been deliberately not logging into social media because it is a direct cause of a lot of anxiety for me.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to get into some of the specifics when we get to some of these main topics that I have listed.
But even like family stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there that again, we're talking about all the mental health stuff. There's like stuff that I just can't if I can't solve a problem, that's the type of shit that fucking eats at me the worst. Like, I have to be able to solve a fucking problem.
If they have a problem, you'll solve it.
Check out the hook. Why DJ revolves it.
Yeah. Is that what happens?
So yeah, I just been avoiding all the social media. Every once in a while, I'll catch myself jumping in there and I'll post in the cantina or whatever, or throw a meme out on Discord. And so if you see me like doing that touch and go, that's why. I'll be like, I'll see something funny, I want to post it, and then I'll bounce.
Yeah,
it's not deliberately. I know it's fucking weird, right? We're podcasters. We should be like all over social media, and we're not because reasons.
Yeah. Sidebar though, I did post something for the first time in like 3 weeks in the cantina on Facebook, and I tagged you in it. Yeah, the bikers. I'm like, I immediately thought of you as soon as I thought of that. I'm like, oh, I gotta post this for Dave.
Oh my god, fucking cyclists.
That's probably the most famous / infamous Dave rant of all times is the cyclist one.
Motherfuckers. So yeah, back to the golf trip real quick. Yeah, me too. Like, bad. Yeah, it's Myrtle Beach, and Myrtle Beach is really good. I came to the decision though that I don't want to live down there. I really don't.
Was that a possibility before?
Oh, Kathy and I have talked about it. Like, we going down south, like kind of like retirement. Like, where do we want to go?
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's not on the radar anymore. I like it down there. I like playing golf down there, but it's very, I don't know. It's missing something for me as far as like what I want to do when I'm like older. I don't mind going there and like for the golf trip, but even vacation, I don't necessarily want to go there. So, but that's just me.
So, do we have a new plan A?
I'm working on it.
Okay. I'll be curious to hear what the next option is.
Yeah, I mean, working on it. More to follow. I put in notes here. Can people just not exist? You're talking about all this stuff with like interacting with other people and being social and everything. I don't want to do it. I just, what I found is that, talking all this good shit about things, and for me, managing expectations of what other people are expecting of me. As it turns out, apparently, my expectation of what I think people expect of me is different.
I could see that.
So I'm putting more pressure on myself than people really are expecting.
Yes.
So one of the things that came up from when I was on vacation was the idea that, there's really no reason why, like, I have to put all this burden on myself.
Yeah.
And so that's my biggest thing, because like what I wanted to do, like, on the drive back, because it was fucking 9.5 hours is supposed to be the drive, right? To come back from South Carolina. I'm like, I'm just gonna go. I want to fucking get home. I gotta work tomorrow for some stupid fucking reason.
Ooh.
Why did I do that? Because I'm a glutton for fucking punishment.
Right.
That fucking day at work was absolute fucking. It was just bananas. But I'm driving, and I'm like, you know what? I need to make a conscious effort to basically lower my expectations of what I think people are expecting of me, and not necessarily care. Because honestly, even if somebody is expecting something of me, if I'm fucking miserable, then what's the point?
Right. And knowing you the way that I do think that you put more pressure on yourself than people expect of you. Like, and I don't know what the source of it is, whether or not it's just you and this need that you have to kind of always want to fix things and want to be involved and want to always help, or if it is like do you feel internally that people expect this from you? But
well, I think part of it is, again, in this theme of the mental health bit, I think part of it is me trying, by having all these things to do, it keeps me from addressing what's actually what I need to be addressing or what I need to be dealing with because I'm fixing problems. Like, and if I'm doing something pragmatic and I'm fixing other people's problems, then
you don't have to deal with yourself.
I'm doing something good for others, and then doing something that I need to be doing to fix myself.
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily. I don't need to think about that because that's harder, right? Having me go fucking, you want me to go, scrounge up 15,000 pounds of fucking clothes and diapers in a week for Afghans. I can go do that, but address something as simple as making a phone call to somebody. I would rather do that. I'd rather fucking, I would rather hand carry fucking those clothes.
Yep.
And it's just, that's the way it is. And, the struggle for me is that I identify that as a weakness. And I think the challenge is that it can't necessarily just be about strengths and weaknesses. I think it just has to be about there's challenges, and not every challenge doesn't necessarily have to be overcome.
Yeah,
Some challenges just exist.
Yeah, that's just part of living, I guess.
Some mountains just exist, and you don't have to climb them.
That's a good point.
So, and that was my coming back from this vacation. I was really in a good headspace after one round of golf, and it wasn't because I drank a bunch of beers or anything. It was just because I was relaxed.
Yeah,
I wasn't on my phone. It was just quiet. I was just sitting there watching some television, which I never do. Yeah. I never just sit down and watch fucking television.
I never do either.
And I'm like, this is nice.
Yeah.
Like, I need to do more of this. People all around me tell me they're sitting there watching television, watching shows, shit like that. I never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's a problem. So that for me, and it could be for you out there the same way. If you find yourself like, why am I so fucking busy? Why am I so busy? Ask yourself that. Why am I so fucking busy? Do I need to be? I don't.
Yeah, and if you are, and if you intentionally make yourself that busy, what are you avoiding?
Yeah.
By doing this.
Yeah, and look, I have stuff. There's some stuff that I know is going to fail if I don't. Like, I've had these similar epiphanies in the past where a perfect example is the local football league in town. Like, I tried to hand it off to somebody else, and I knew that it wasn't going to be as successful as it was when I ran it, and it folded. Like, well,
wow.
I knew it was going to happen, but I can't do everything, so I had to let it fail, which is fucking hard. You know how fucking hard that is for me?
I would imagine that probably killed you inside quite a bit.
I still think about it, and that was fucking shit. That was probably 8 years ago now.
Oh my god.
And it still bothers me, especially this time of year because when we'd be playing. But yeah, it's Bronco Fed's implying that Kelly's got a good jab. DB has a head cold. Anyway, and
I had one other thing that I wanted to talk about. You talking about the whole like for social stuff and all that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot to mention that I went to a women's pro soccer game about a week and a half ago.
Oh yeah. Were you at Carly Lloyd's final game?
Yes, Carly Lloyd. So she had her final like home game where she's part of this the New York, New Jersey Gotham team, right, which they used to be the New Jersey something or others.
I forget.
But now they're New York, New Jersey for more exposure. And yeah, they intentionally changed the game to be in Philly for her because she's from this area. Yeah. She lives in fucking Medford, I think.
Yep.
And she, big famous soccer player. And Kristen, I mentioned before, she's been a big soccer fan since the last I want to say World Cup that happened a couple years ago. She's been huge into fucking women's soccer.
Yeah, it's been a couple World Cups that she's been into it, I think.
Something like that. But yeah, Kristen's really been into the women's soccer for the last few years. and she mentioned to me that Carly Lloyd was having this big like final home game in Philly. They were intentionally moving the game to this one stadium in Philly for her, and she wanted to go. I'm like, all right, fucking get tickets, whatever. I've never been a soccer person. I've never liked playing soccer. I've never liked watching soccer, whatever. So I like intentionally just did this for Kristen. I'm like, this is clearly very important to you. So yes, let's do it. Get the tickets, get good seats, and we'll go. And she did. And even as it like came up to like the week of, she's like, don't forget about the soccer game on Wednesday. I'm like, fuck. Like I was not looking forward to going. And we went, and I had a fucking blast. Like, I really enjoyed watching the game, like being in the fucking stands. And I'm like, why didn't you get those fucking seats right there by courtside? Come on, why are we up here? Like, they were good seats, don't get me wrong, but they weren't like the very front. But by the time the game was over, like, we should have gotten those fucking seats. I wanted to be closer. I wanted to, talk shit to the referees and, get a closer view. But it was actually a really enjoyable experience. Though the funny thing is, the game ended in a 0-0 tie.
Yeah.
Like nobody scored the whole fucking game.
Yeah, soccer.
Yeah.
That's atypical.
But regardless, it was actually a really, really fun experience, and I'm glad I went.
I'm glad they moved it to Philly. She's from Delran.
Yeah. So, in the
right
area.
down the road.
But yeah, it was a whole celebration of her and her career. She's been playing fucking pro soccer for like 20 years.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's good for soccer in general. Like just to bring just to highlight the fact that like you can have that success. You can come from this area and have that level of success, and it just is very, very cool.
Yep. So yeah, I forgot to put that into my notes for this week.
I'm sure I missed something too. I'm going to close out my week specifically talking to Ivo.
Okay.
Ivo, what I realized when I was I made a little video in the cantina specifically for Ivo.
Like talking shit for fantasy?
Yeah. Oh, well, very little. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I had this epiphany about Bulgarian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which Bulgarian is different than Russian, right?
Sure.
But it's Cyrillic characters. So I'm looking at the Cyrillic characters and I'm like, that's not Russian. Like, it's the letters. So in my brain, I'm like, oh, fuck, this must be what it's like for other people when they look at English and, like, French words. Like, it's the same fucking letters. They're just all out of order.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and because that's what it looked like to me. I'm like, shit. It was just fucking weird.
Right.
Ivo, 6%. I'm going to have the most amazing comeback, and I'm going to fucking trample all over your fucking victory parade. Don't you forget it. I hope you stay up and watch the fucking game tonight.
I would say the same thing to Lunar Girl, but at this point,
Julio!
Yeah.
Hit the button. I gotta pee.
All right. We're going to take a quick break before we get into our main topic, quote unquote, and be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Oh my God, I gotta pee.
Yeah, I gotta go too, so hurry the fuck up. In the meantime, let me try to get caught up on the chat. Oh, by the way, Kristen and I both thought we had COVID when we went to the soccer game, but we went anyway. Thankfully, our test came back negative after the fact, but yeah, it's whatever. Reactor. Samsonite. I was way off. Mercury finally is no longer in retrograde. Okay. Dude, if you're into stargazing, it's been some really nice nights, at least up here in the Northeast lately. A lot of good stargazing nights. Oh, we didn't bring up the fact that it's been fucking cold too. I want to talk to Samson. Fly me to the moon like that bitch Alice Graham. 'Cause it's hard being black and gifted. Sometimes I just want to throw it all down and get lifted. Everyone knows in my neighborhood, it's the best shit around. Samson shit is bliss. Got the whole town on lockdown.
Why is your house so sharp?
It's unfinished. All right, my turn.
Oh, God. Too hot in here.
It's just right.
For somebody in shorts. It's getting hot in here. Ivo's still awake? Nice. Also, great Bulgarian in the I love you part, but you were pronouncing my name incorrectly for 2 years. Well, how the fuck do you pronounce your name then? I mean, I deliberately mispronounce people's names. It's my thing. It's what I do. But there's me deliberately doing it because I know I'm doing it, and then there's me fucking it up. I'd rather not fuck it up. So phonetically put that shit out there for me, so I can not be fucking it up. The best part about looking up the I love you bit was everyone else I was thinking that I was saying fuck you in Bulgarian.
Alright, let me just get a status on our beer.
Empty.
Oh, time to call the beer winch.
Yeah, I deliberately mispronounced Boise. And you know what? So do fucking
hey,
ESPN
bitch.
announces.
Bring us some fucking beer.
This beer is going to come in.
And go fuck yourself. We'll see what she says.
This beer is going to be coming at high velocity. Just make sure I fucking duck.
Either way.
Evo.
Evo in Stevo? I don't understand.
Evo. I apparently I've been mispronouncing Ivo's name.
Oh, it's pronounced Evo?
He says I've been mispronouncing it. So
well, we've both been saying Ivo, so
yeah.
We're American. We speak American, all right? So you gotta help us out sometimes.
That's if it is that way, I Russianized it by doing Ivo. ESPN, yeah, the paragon of speech in English. Right? Duh, obviously. Yeah, Stonebleeds, how'd that game versus Air Force work out? We live in fame, we go down in flames. Hey,
nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Okay.
Yes, you won't tell us, or yes, it's Evo. Evo.
All right. Hopefully she's bringing out the beer. I'd rather wait until she gets here before we get started again.
High velocity beer.
You know, whatever. Or maybe she's waiting until we go live before she brings it in. I don't know.
Maybe.
So like the whole masses can see. Jesus. All right. Why don't we?
I'm in danger.
Memes are the greatest thing. Like, if there's one good thing that I can say about social media, it's that the memes that have come from it have been fucking spot on. Oh my God, have you, I'm like looking at your phone. Are you starting to go kind of like,
well,
like this is your reading stuff on your phone?
I have bifocals, so it's like it have to hit just at the right spot.
Yeah, I don't yet, but I'm starting to be like, hold on, let me, like I feel like I'm an old person, like trying to read something up close now, which I was never like that before.
Vickers, what is the $1,099?
$925,600 minutes.
I feel like I heard a door.
Talking about love.
The text he actually sent me was very sweet.
Oh.
I don't know what you're talking about. 525,600 minutes.
I don't know how many, so.
Y-
Do you want more?
Probably.
Right now?
Sure. Are you? Well, you're probably.
Two's fine. I'm nursing that
Okay,
one.
this is probably fine. I might need more though. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll send you another mean text.
Thank you.
Thanks, bitch. Sorry, I love you. Don't hurt me.
No,
She punched me really hard earlier today, by the way. I did not. I don't even remember what I said.
that's probably why you deserve it.
Like, what did I say? See, she doesn't even remember. But she hit me really hard.
I did. I remember that.
All right. Do we need 30 seconds?
Beats me. Help.
We just had the sexual assault training.
Yeah. Oh, this was not sexual in nature at all. This was just sheer brutality.
It might have been sexual for her.
Whoo.
Anyway, you ready?
Almost. I got to get over this last. All right, hold on. Let me just do a click real quick. Let's do it. And we're back. So, before we get into our mainstream of little sidebar tidbits, you've got a gift that was
Yes.
given to us in the studio.
Yes, a subtle hint from Mr. Vickers. I'm trying to figure out, like, he sent me this picture, and then I'm like, what is that? Like, anyway, we talked, Jason and I, when I first got here, we talked offline and had this huge conversation about this, and then I realized that all that conversation was off the air.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Vickers got us this fantastic Giftosaurus.
Yes. Very, very incredible. God damn, this thing is fucking heavy as shit. So, for the YouTube audience, you can see this. The audio people, you're fucked. I don't know. Subscribe on YouTube. But this is an Imperial Star Destroyer paper model kit. So
It's fucking substantial.
yeah, this thing is huge. It's fucking, the box for this thing like seriously weighs more than anything you would imagine in a box this size weighing.
Yeah.
It's fucking it's beautiful.
And it's like, you know, Vickers had sent me the picture of it in the display. It's like 4 feet long. It's a monster.
And it's a Star Destroyer. Like, Star Destroyers are, of everything that George Lucas ever created in the Star Wars universe, the Star Destroyer is just, it's so fucking iconic. It's so perfect. It's just that symmetrical, big Imperial dick just getting thrown right in your fucking face. And it's like, here, look at it.
Yeah,
look at it.
Here's the tip. Here
Yeah.
it is.
No, this isn't just the tip. This is everything. You're going to look at the whole thing and you're going to like it.
I don't know.
I almost feel like just keeping it in the box.
No, right?
But it would look pretty fucking awesome just having a Star Destroyer,
Right?
like hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like a 4 foot long Star Destroyer that looks pretty goddamn accurate.
Yeah, and it has this poster. It comes with this poster in the back, and it comes with 2 TIE fighters and a fucking Imperial shuttle.
Ugh.
So it makes me wonder, like, we have a fucking Millennium Falcon too.
Oh yeah.
So you wonder, like, could you have like the destroyer, right? The Star Destroyer, and then like have the Millennium Falcon kind of like in the background and have it so it has this like depth to it. I don't know. It's a lot of potential there, but I can see this. It's 342 pieces. It's a hell of a puzzle. We'd have to fucking.
That would take some time.
It would take some time.
Yeah.
I
So,
think we'd need
in the
time
interim-
and beer.
Yeah. So before we are ever able to put this together, it will go on display in the box.
Yeah.
But
I think we should have Vickers over and we just
which I've never actually met him face to face.
Yeah,
so
we should
that
have
would be
drinks
nice.
and fucking put this thing to fucking together.
Excellent. We will do it.
Do it.
So, for our main topic today, we have kind of missed out on a lot of things, pop culture, like politics, and everything in between. And I basically just listed a bunch of shit in our notes, things to kind of go down and talk about. And you seem to be good with pretty much everything I put in here.
Yeah.
So why don't we just go down the line, and this is going to be our show. This is going to be just us talking about the shit that's happened since we went offline.
Crazy gold medallions.
Yeah. And the first thing that we've kind of alluded to already is Dave Chappelle released his final Netflix special, The Closer.
Well, his self-proclaimed final.
Right. Which, I mean, we now know that he got paid $24 million for this one fucking special.
Right.
So if Netflix or anybody else comes calling offering a similar payday, it'd be kind of hard to say no to that because we know Chappelle likes getting paid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he released The Closer, and whoo, the controversy that followed.
So I was ignorant to all of the transphobic stuff that had happened after the previous special. I saw the special, right? And he kind of alluded to some of the stuff, but I kind of took it tongue in cheek, right? Because, I mean, people, look, they're people sensitive to this shit all the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, there's a certain audience that's going to be offended by everything. And that audience seems to be offended by everything. So, okay, I took it for what it was. For Chappelle to fucking basically lock and load to, all right, well, I'm going to double down on this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, you fuckers want to try and cancel this reality? Because to me, like, Dave Chappelle has never fucking lied to us.
No.
Never. He is one of the most, there's bullshit, there's fucking, it's comedy, right? With the sketches and everything else, there's comedy. But when it really comes down to it, when he's trying to tell us a message, he's giving us his heartfelt message of what he's talking about.
And that's the thing with all of his specials is they're stories, and it's a narrative. It's an hour-long narrative that eventually, there's some funny stuff, there's some fun jabs poked in there, but at the end of each one, there's a fucking message at the end.
Yep.
And, there's a reason why he's doing this. And this is not new. Yep. And it was never about just like fucking ragging on transgenders just for the fact of doing it.
Right.
It was, he had a point. And the point was that the way things are now with people being so fucking sensitive, and really it's about the fucking, I'm sorry to get into too much like left versus right politics, but the far left extremists, there are no more jokes. Like if you like joke about something, then that's the same as like punching that person in the face.
Yeah. Well, Chappelle there was a quote I saw in a meme today. It's like, there's no, Vickers is in Costco right now. Got that in Costco. I'm sorry. Squirrel.
Yeah. And, ultimately the point he's making is every joke that he made, as far as like any kind of transgender people, was all very light, very tongue-in-cheek. It was never meant to like make these people feel bad about themselves, or definitely not meant to like incite any kind of harm or danger to these people. It's something that when you look at it from an outsider's perspective, it's kind of funny. And he made a point of that, and they acted like he fucking raped them and their mothers and fucking beat them and everything else. And that's what, unfortunately, the far left extremists, again, the fucking Twitter people, because that's where a lot of this shit fucking breeds and where it really kind of manifests is on fucking Twitter, which is why I say Twitter is fucking cancer. It's these people that get so fucking offended by even the lightest of jokes when he never had any ill intention behind any of these.
And listen, this is what I'm going to say about Chappelle, and this is what he said from the fucking beginning. Chappelle has always been, it's been about racism. It's about standing there and going, how can I with this platform, how can I talk about racism? How can I make racism part of this, you know, part of something that changes? How can I be Martin Luther King? How can I use this as my platform and doing it in such a way that it's palatable?
Yeah.
Right? How can I get white people to laugh at what's going on? Like, how can I do that?
But
how can
also
I bring them
still
into my world?
but also still kind of get his message across.
Yes,
and that's the thing.
Not be extreme. Not be like you white devil. You fucking you suck.
Yeah.
Right. Be like, no, look, I get it. Like, here's the scenario, but here's the reality is that Chappelle never once, like, all of these things that he's talking about, and he says right at the end of this fucking special, he says, this isn't about transgenders, and the whole thing about the friend in San Francisco that ends up taking her own life because of what they did to
because
her on
of what
Twitter.
the fucking Twitter mob did.
Yeah, all that fucking bullshit. People should be fucking ashamed of themselves.
Yeah,
ashamed, and they won't be. That's the fucked up part. They won't be. They'll feel just. They'll find a reason why that person wasn't there enough. They weren't fucking gay enough. They weren't fucking trans enough to fucking meet their criteria, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Chappelle wants, if you want to be, why can't racism be canceled? Why can't people that are racist be canceled? Why can't it get the same fucking thing? That's been his thing. Like, if you want to go so far as they've gone, why can't racism go that far? And we've watched in this fucking span of a few years where racism kind of came to a head, and then all of a sudden it was usurped.
Yeah.
And like, whatever movement could have been made was stopped. And I think, like I said, you don't have to agree with everything that Dave Chappelle, like, but what he says, but he is an African American that's like, this is him genuinely. This is how he sees the world. This is how he wants to try and change the world. And he's never lied to me and said that this is my ulterior motive. No, he fucking tells you right at the end of it. He's like, this is what I want to see changed. Like, this is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And from his first fucking special, when he's standing there and he's talking about DC and talking about fucking buying weed from the little kid on the fucking corner store.
Yeah.
Like, all that fucking shit. He's talking about the life of a black person in that scenario.
And the real hypocrisy comes in because, you know, God forbid you ever speaks. So there's multiple things going on. Again, we're talking about the far left, the people who are just like generally like Democratic, left leaning, not like the hardcore fucking Twitter liberals. I'm sure that they're fine with what's going on, but it's these far lefties, the ones that at one point they hold him in such high regard because, you know, 2 specials ago he's ragging on Trump supporters and he's ragging on the right and everything, but now the second he goes against any single thing that they believe, now all of a sudden, oh, Dave Chappelle's really not funny. You know, he's past his prime and everything else, where they were praising him a year and a half ago when he was bashing Trump supporters. But now, the second he even makes a joke about one of their even more protected classes than a fucking black man, then it's like, oh, he was never funny. You know, fuck him. He's the piece of shit. You know, so there's so much hypocrisy going on there. But again, I attribute so much of this to this weird far left fucking just inbred bullshit that's going on Twitter right now. But it unfortunately it spreads, and it spreads to like a lot of these corporations. Thankfully, Netflix and the CEO of Netflix came out and he said, no, you know what? We're okay with this.
Yeah.
You know, we understand that you might not agree with his opinion, and that's fine. We have a whole wide variety of opinions and people that we give a platform to. So
yeah. And oh, by the way, there is a lot of material, stand up and otherwise, that is far more controversial on Netflix right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to go through your entire catalog? And are you going to do the same thing? Because you did that with Chappelle? Well, if you're Netflix, there's no fucking way.
Well, and that's
there's no fucking way.
That's the thing. Like if it were up to the far left Twitter mob, they would cancel pretty much everything before like 1998. Because if you didn't agree with, you know, things like gay marriage at any point in your career, you're done. You know, if you didn't agree with anything
Well,
that's a far
shit.
left talking point right now, you're done.
1998 is not the right place because back in those days, that shit was, you're talking about don't ask, don't tell, and everything
Well,
else.
and that's the thing. Eventually, they're probably going to come for Bill. They're going to come for Slick Willie because, oh, well, he implemented the don't ask, don't tell, which was very, homophobic and everything else. Where it's like, motherfucker, don't you understand what he was trying to do?
No,
don't
they
you?
don't. No, they do not
Wait-
because it doesn't fit with their narrative.
Yeah.
And let me say this: this far left, far right, whatever narrative that's there.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. There's far right bullshit going
Yeah.
on as well. So don't.
It doesn't exist without without social media, without this platform.
Right, but unfortunately, we've created those platforms and
Yeah.
we've given that to these people, and now it has too much influence on what goes on in the
Well,
real world now.
It has too much influence on, like, there's no delineation now between like what's actually factually correct and what's not,
Oh yeah,
what's actual like researched fucking news. So what do? I don't fucking watch it.
yeah.
I stay to fuck away from it. I stay off of Twitter. I stay off of these things. I'm gonna watch Dave Chappelle. You know why I'm gonna watch Dave Chappelle? Because Dave Chappelle watches these things. Dave Chappelle has a vested interest in what happens to what's going on with certain things. He's not going to be ignorant to what's going on with his race.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's part of who he is.
Yeah.
So when he goes out there and he's has a special, right? Or he goes on Joe Rogan, or he's doing some other interview where he talks about why he turned away $50 million.
Yeah.
He does all these things. Like, I'm going to listen to this man because he hasn't given me a reason to not listen to him.
Yeah. No.
It's the same thing with Joe Rogan. Like, Joe Rogan, we can laugh about a lot of the fuck. He's a silly dude.
Yeah.
But guess what? You know why he's a silly dude? Because he's a fucking comedian.
Yeah.
That's his fucking job. He's a fucking comedian. He's
yeah.
a comedian that happens to have a fucking audience that, like, he likes to sit down and talk about serious shit just like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Are we any more fucking nuanced and fucking educated than anybody else with that? Maybe for certain subjects, if you're talking about our particular subject matter experts, we are in certain things.
Yeah.
Not about a lot, though, like social media shit and all that. No. But so are they.
Yeah.
They're fucking comedians. So stop. Oh, Joe Rogan this, Joe Rogan that. Like, dude, just because he has a lot of followers, like, you can't fucking, you're gonna gang up against him because he's your enemy.
Well, and ultimately that's the problem. That's the problem with the Chappelle stuff and the Rogan stuff is they have those big audiences, and these people want to control the information. That's what it's become all about. It's become about the fucking control of information. Whether it's right or wrong or indifferent or unproven, it doesn't matter. These people, and you could probably say it for both sides, they want that control of information. They don't want people to have even a thought of what's going on the other side. They're like, no, that's fake news. It's misinformation, whatever you want to fucking label it. And they want to control the narrative and they want to control the information so that the only thing you see is what they believe.
Well, listen, and this isn't new. This has been going on since mass media was created.
Right, but this is it's new
But
for the internet.
This is exponentially different. It's just exponentially bigger.
That is true.
Because think about the 50s. Do some history, learn about some history, learn about like the Cuban Missile Crisis. And look at things like how did the mainstream media filter the Cuban Missile Crisis? Like, what was the actual factual information that got out with that?
I wasn't alive back then, so I have no idea.
Yeah, but it's history. Like, you go back, the media was controlled by entities, and how it was filtered and what you saw in the news and everything else. I mean, it was there to an extent, and the public wasn't necessarily involved. Now, everyone is involved. Here's my point. This is how does Dave Martin fix this problem, right? You fucking watch Chappelle. Like, you watch these comedians. Don't participate in the cancel culture. That's the best thing you can do. at this point.
Yeah.
You know, don't participate. Like, have your own fucking opinion about something. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Do it. Have your own fucking opinion. Yeah, if you want to, there's nothing wrong with standing on one side of something and being like, okay, this, I have similar thoughts on this. I'm going to start here, but then find your own way from there, right? And however you get there, that's fine. But by just moving along with the rest of the fucking flock because that's the way they're going is fucking asinine. It's lazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking lazy. A lot of these assholes are fucking lazy.
Right.
They're retweeting. Like, look at how social media construct is built. It's built on retweeting. It's built on tagging. Like, none of this is fucking original thought. All of this shit has been fucking rehashed 5 ways till Sunday. So none of this shit is original.
Yeah.
It's been cut and pasted for dozens of times by the time you see it. So have your own fucking original thought before you come out with something. And then do your own research and follow your own path. And watch fucking Chappelle's special.
Yep. Absolutely. I will agree with that. Pivoting away from Chappelle, but staying on Netflix. So, do you know what the fuck Squid Game is?
I watched 5 minutes of that.
So, I didn't know a thing about it, except for the fact that I see it in, like, all these fucking headlines. I see Squid Game, Squid Game, Squid Game, Squid this, Squid that, Squid that. I'm like, what is this thing, this squid thing that people keep talking about? So finally, Kristen and I called our 14-year-old son into our room. We're like, Adam, come in here. What is Squid Game? And he's like, well, it's the show on Netflix. It's about this game that's going on in South Korea with poor people, and you have a chance to win millions, but if you don't win, you die, and all this other stuff. I'm like, okay, thank you, because, like, this was fucking everywhere, all of a sudden, out of nowhere.
It's Hunger Games, but different.
Yeah, but it's like
with Koreans,
like the only thing anybody's fucking talking about.
Dude, apparently it's huge.
Yeah,
I guess it's the #1 thing on Netflix right now. Is this?
I believe it based on all of the traffic I'm seeing. I had no idea what it was, and we had to ask our 14-year-old, like, what is this?
I put it on. We were talking about it on the golf trip, and I'm like, I have no visibility on this whatsoever. So I had a few minutes, and I put it on, and I'm like, I'm watching for about 5 minutes, and I'm like, no, I can't do it. And I fucking shut it off. Again, sitting and watching TV is tough for me to begin with. Something like that, I have zero interest. Like, where there was no catch for me at all.
Yeah.
A lot of people are watching it though. Like,
I guess, yeah. Which, I mean, sure.
I'll bet you there are podcasts solely dedicated to Squid Game.
Oh, probably.
It is probably like the Lost of South Korean Hunger Games style shows.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd bring that up because that's something that all of a sudden popped up during our hiatus.
Yeah. Well, make sure when you tag, like, make sure in the show notes, like when you tag it on YouTube, put
tag
Squid Game in there.
Yeah.
Even though we're only going to talk about it for 45 seconds.
Indeed. Staying on Netflix, they also announced that the second half of Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe is coming out like in mid-November, I think. And one person who will not be watching that is this guy.
I don't care.
Because if season 1 was a determination of whether or not you would or would not watch the second half, I am on the side of will not watch it.
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the first one.
Well, go back and listen to our episode. We dedicated a whole episode of this podcast to that series, and
I just didn't enjoy it.
Nothing I saw on that makes me want to spend any more time in my life.
Yeah,
to watching that.
I'm sorry. It's a shame. You know, my cousin Rick, he's actually home for a minute, which reminds me I have to text him so we can get together before he goes back to Alaska. Hang on. I'm going to show you a picture of his current setup at his parents' house. Give me a moment.
Yep. And Lunar Girl is so looking forward to watching the second half of Masters of the Universe, as she said in the chat. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Are those like his original bed sheets from when he was a kid?
They're the originals.
Nice. You cannot see that on the YouTube.
How about now?
They're Masters of the Universe in the original 80s style bed sheets.
They are the original 80s bed sheets.
Fucking sweet.
Anyway.
Well done, sir.
He sends me shit like that all the time. Like, all right.
Bronco Fett says the Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe denies the existence of She-Ra and Hordak.
I'm going to cancel the new He-Man because it denies the existence of She-Ra.
Exactly.
I think that.
Yeah, it's fucking sexist. Clearly, it's a very sexist show because it denies She-Ra, the true heir to the Masters of the Universe crown. I don't know.
We've spent too much time talking.
Indeed.
Hashtag.
Don't give a shit.
Hashtag Squid Game.
Indeed.
Hashtag Squidbillies.
Sure. Breaking news today. I'm curious to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
Variety just broke this news. Now, Variety, they've been involved in a lot of these, like Star Wars, like, oh, they're making a Boba Fett movie and all this stuff. So take it with a grain of salt. But they did reveal that Mel Brooks has agreed with Hulu to do History of the World Part 2.
Okay, first of all, did Mel Brooks really, is Mel Brooks okay?
Like, yeah, he's like fucking 90 or some shit.
Did somebody actually find Mel Brooks and say, "Hey, did you actually sign up for this?" Or
and he's like, "What?"
Yeah,
like Jamie, look at how old is Mel Brooks now?
Yeah, it's like I don't want a Stan Lee thing to happen with Mel Brooks here, where they fucking talk.
They're propping him up like Weekend at Bernie's kind of thing, and
I.
Well, so the only reason I brought this up is because did you see History of the World Part 1 growing up?
Yeah.
Like, again, as a family who had the movie channel as opposed to HBO or Showtime growing up, History of the World Part 1 was always playing on the movie channel. Mm-hmm. And being a naive kid, I'm like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to watch History of the World Part 2. Because it was intentionally billed as History of the World Part 1, and there was even a Part 2 like teaser trailer at the end of it where it talked about like Jews in space and all this other stuff. So I'm like, oh, I can't wait to watch History of the World Part 2.
He can't make that movie. Like, what Mel Brooks movie can get made right now? Like, this day and age. After we just had this long-ass conversation about Chappelle doing a comedy special that barely moves the needle compared to, I don't know, like somebody posted a meme about, hey, if you didn't like Chappelle, let me introduce you to these family-friendly comedians.
Blazing Saddles. Where the white women at?
Yeah. Here, let me introduce you to George Carlin and fucking Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy Raw. Let's. How about you listen to these fucking specials that were out in the fucking late 80s, early 90s. But I don't see a fucking single title that Mel Brooks could make today that would fucking be like,
not in the same way he made them back in the day.
No. So what is he going to make today that's going to be?
And Hulu's now officially a Disney joint. So Disney is the majority shareholder in Hulu. So
yeah, look. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Like the one scene from History of the World Part 1 that I remember probably more than any other scene is when the girl is going down the line of men, like rating their dicks basically.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So if that tells you anything about the humor in that movie,
it's I can't see it. I can't see them actually doing it. But
I just find it funny that they're actually talking about making History of the World Part 2 after all of these years, after literally like 40 years.
I think it's a travesty that History of the World Part 2 would come out before Spaceballs 2. The search for more money.
That is true.
Travesty.
That does hurt a little bit because he's hinted at it for years. But
the search for more money. That movie I think he can make.
Oh yeah. Like, again, you could knock all of the, like, the prequel, sequel, reboot culture that's going on in Hollywood.
Yeah, he could even... Mel Brooks could even be in it. He could be still fucking... Oh, fuck. I can't think of the guy's name. Yogurt.
Mel Brooks was Yogurt.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't come up with Yogurt. I'm sorry. It took a second. Mel Brooks could still be Yogurt. He could just be like dying Yogurt, like over in the hut.
Yeah, and I know Bill Pullman's still alive, so he could come back as Lone Star. Daphne Zuniga is still alive. Obviously, John Candy has passed since then.
And Joan Rivers.
Oh, Joan Rivers too. That's right.
Yeah.
But Rick Moranis is still alive.
But he
when he's not getting punched in New York City.
People suck.
Indeed.
People fucking suck.
Yep. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I guess I probably should have put this next topic closer to the Chappelle topic because The James Webb Telescope.
Yeah.
It is being launched December 18th,
Yes.
pretty close to my birthday. And, dude, I'm super fucking excited, except for the fact that I didn't realize it's like a 6-month process before that thing gets up and running.
Yeah.
So, it's got to get into its right fucking orbit,
Yep.
and then it's got to like unfurl, and they got to
Yeah,
do
because
tests.
the orbit's way out there. It's well beyond anything else that's sitting out there in orbit.
Mhm.
So it's going to be big.
Yeah, but I am so fucking excited for this James Webb Telescope.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Bronco Fett posts for Spaceballs 2, the search for money. They should get Joan Rivers' daughter Melissa in and give her a red arm. That's fucking.
You might not
awesome.
recognize her though, but that would be funny.
That would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
no, but James Webb, we've talked about it here or there. I am so fucking excited.
We're gonna do a whole show about it
for this thing to get
when it
online.
launched.
Yeah, and because we talked about when the last Mars rover landed, it was what the 9 minutes of terror or whatever it
Yeah.
was, where the James Webb, it's like 6 months of terror.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy, and I can't imagine being like the project manager on this fucking thing,
Dude,
and
it's
the
been-
level of stress that you've got to be under
The
at this
fucking
point.
boat ride. I can't imagine it being, all right, I'm going to put this thing on a boat. I'm going to take it out of the Goddard Space Center. I'm going to put it on a goddamn boat to go through the fucking Panama Canal. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
And do we even know why that they're launching it from South America? Like what the purpose is?
it has something to do with the fucking orbital mechanics.
Okay. Like I had a feeling it had something to do with that, but yeah, it just didn't make any sense to me. Like you fuck it does it matter where you launch it from in the US?
Absolutely it does.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever. But I do want to give kudos to NASA for, again, going back to the fucking Twitter mob, for not caving in to the fucking Twitter mob who have been like lobbying like crazy to get them to change the name, because James Webb happened to be in charge of fucking NASA when there was this big thing going on in like the late 60s to oust gay people from government jobs, which, don't get me wrong, is fucked up. But you have to understand it in the context of the time. First of all, there is no evidence at all that James Webb was directly involved in any of this bullshit. He just happened to be, the head of NASA at the time.
Yep.
When, there was this big government purge going on.
Yeah, by proxy.
Yeah. So
Guilty by proxy.
And again,
Which is like, just by fucking definition, the most anti-American thing ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Just fuck you.
Yeah. So again, NASA came out and basically said, "No, we're not gonna change the name. So get used to it."
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So kudos to them. So again, kudos to NASA. Kudos to Netflix for finally like
growing a pair.
Yeah. Growing a pair and sticking up to this fucking mob, that these people that think that because now they've got every idiot in the world has a voice, that they can just like make anything happen at their whim. Yep. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
It's because even though they're the loudest voice, it's still a very small percentage of people.
For sure. So moving on to something more lighthearted. Did you see the trailer for the new teaser, I guess, for the Flash movie that's coming out?
No.
Do you know what's going on in this Flash movie?
No.
So Marvel is doing this whole multiverse thing where have you seen or heard about what's going on with the next Spider-Man movie?
No.
How they're bringing back fucking
Doc Ock.
Well, yeah, but also the two Spider-Men from before, fucking
oh, that's real?
Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
Like they're bringing back their versions because they're doing a whole multiverse thing in Marvel.
I thought that was just a meme.
No, that's legit.
Okay.
That they're bringing those two back. Well,
sounds awful.
I think it sounds fucking awesome myself. Okay. But DC's doing the same thing with the Flash, because in DC Comics canon, the Flash does have this ability to like travel through time or across multiverses and everything. And with this new Flash movie, they're bringing back Michael Keaton's Batman from the 80s Batman movies.
Huh.
And this new Flash trailer came out. Like, we all knew this was happening because it was all going through the rumor mill and everything else. And this new Flash trailer starts off with a voiceover from fucking Michael Keaton.
Huh.
Like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? And you see a glimpse, like a silhouette of the Michael Keaton Batman and the Batmobile from the 88 Batman or whatever.
Wow.
And like, dude, my excitement level is through the fucking roof
You
for
know,
this.
I really enjoyed that Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman. That actually.
And I was going to ask you that. That's why I brought this up, because I was curious what your thoughts were of the Batman from.
I haven't seen it. Excuse me. That was a Batman that. No, I have my Uncle Bob, the one that's the toy designer, right? He was big Batman fanatic. He's the one that kind of got me into it, and we went and saw the movie when it first came out and everything. I would pay money to probably see that, just because he's involved in it.
Yeah.
I'd be curious. Will it suck me into this whole multiverse thing?
Yeah, I mean, we have no idea where they're going to go with this. One rumor is that this whole Flash thing is going to create like a singularity like universe, but it's going to like kind of cherry pick some of the best things that DC has done over the years, like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, super popular, Michael Keaton's Batman, the new Flash, and it's going to become like one singular universe with like a new Justice League and everything.
Can we have a fucking original thought anymore? I mean, can we?
That's not what Hollywood does. I don't know. I don't know if you've got the memo, but they don't do anything original anymore.
Apparently, I am not a fan of the whole this multiverse thing. Not in the way that they're doing.
Okay.
Like, I like the idea of, like, from a quantum physics perspective, the idea that there's multiple universes, like I like the idea that they exist, right? I like to explore that idea from a science perspective. These supernatural human beings or humanoids or whatever being able to do these things, and just we're going to have, instead of having an original story with original character, we're just going to have these, like, it's the comic books. It's comic books. It's what can we write? We can do whatever the fuck we want with these characters. Now that we have CGI, it's this like super realistic CGI. Now we're basically writing comic books and turning them into fucking multi-million-dollar movies. I was never into comic books. I just never was. Yeah. So I don't have any desire to go fucking watch a comic book on the screen. I just don't. It's not the way I enjoy storytelling.
Well, and I mean, they do it in a way where you don't have to be familiar with the comic books and everything else.
That's not the point. If I know that, like, for the Avengers is a perfect example. Like, I know that there's this whole lineage of fucking movies and all these things tie together, right? I'm not interested in all these things that tie together. I'd rather go watch Dune, which, even though that's based on a book that was written in 1960, by the way.
Yeah.
Even though it's based on that, and I've read that book, I'm super familiar with it. It's telling a story in a way that's using the CGI. Like, it's not a remake of a movie. It's telling this original story. And, like, okay. And if it decides there's sequels to that book already written, not fucking, no, we're not writing this as we go. It's already written. So if they choose to go that way, then I'll follow that. But these are already established stories. Or fucking write something original and fucking go with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I hate. I'm not this comic book guy that I want. Like, all right, I think I'm gonna fucking stick this to the table and make some fucking really just outlandish shit happen all different directions. Go. Right? We're gonna start seeing movies with fucking, where Superman's the bad guy. And then you're gonna start seeing that shit. Because
I mean, that happened.
Series.
Yeah,
yes.
that happened in a series.
Yes.
So
why wouldn't you make that into a movie? People would fucking go watch it.
Yeah.
Watch Superman tear shit up. Absolutely. Fucking people would go see it. Why wouldn't they do that?
So
I'm here to tell you, I'll put money down. They're fucking going to do it.
So you're saying what exactly? Like, this is a bad thing?
It's not a Dave thing.
Okay.
It's not for Dave. Now, will I go see this because Michael Keaton's in it? Probably.
Yeah.
That's the hook, right? That's the hook. Let's get guys who are into the fucking Batman, the 80s Batman. let's get them into the theater. Okay, cool. And it gets the hook in there. Now let's see if they'll get me into more of it.
Yeah, and we'll see what the payoff is, right? Because like I'm super excited to see it, but I don't know what the end game is.
Right.
No pun intended.
Because honestly, DC's
well, and that's like the other note I made in here is like, is DC finally on the map with this? Because they've been 20 steps behind Marvel the entire way.
Yeah.
Like the whole Justice League and Batman versus Superman, just ugh.
Yeah, after being dragged to see Batman versus Superman, I'm just like,
whoever took you should be fucking shot.
fucking
Honestly,
God damn,
whoever made you watch that.
filleted.
Yeah.
On live fucking YouTube.
Indeed. In other movie trailer news, they also released a new trailer for the next Scream movie. Have you seen that? Or well, I know you're not a horror guy, but for me, like the Scream movie series, like it has a very big place in my heart because the first date that Kristen and I ever went on, we watched the first Scream movie.
Right.
And that kind of began our relationship, and then we saw every Scream movie after that together. And this one is, again, it's bringing back the original cast, but it's like doing like the whole, it's basically doing a Force Awakens, right? You're bringing back the original cast, but you're introducing this whole new cast of younger people and everything. So they're going very Force Awakens with this. And the trailer looked really good, and I really want to see this.
And people will.
Yeah.
People will, because it brought in the original cast, and they'll want to see what they do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And good for you. You go and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
That is definitely not a Dave movie.
Right, because I know in general you're not a big horror fan.
I'm not a horror guy. I have my own nightmares. I don't need to fucking incorporate. I don't need anybody else's nightmares.
All right, before we finish this up, I think we need to take one more break.
Okay.
Because I have to piss again, and then we'll finish up. I still have a whole list of topics, so don't worry,
Sure.
we're not done. But I really gotta pee again.
Go.
So we'll be back again after the second word from our sponsors.
Do it. What am I shutting up from?
Shitting on Marvel and comic book movies.
Oh, again, it's not a Dave thing. Like I said, it's not a Dave thing. I was never into the comics. And you know what? I think, you want to get down to why Dave probably wasn't into comics, because Dave never had access to comics. I mean, my cousin had comics, like, because his dad was into comics, but other than seeing him at his house, my parents didn't buy comic books. I was lucky I had baseball cards. It just wasn't something we had in the house. Now, I had novels, like I had access to books, but comic books weren't something that we had in our house. It just wasn't something that I was able to get into. So I probably legitimately, Brady, like in my house, and my cousin would tell you if he was on, I probably drew more comic books than I actually read at a certain point. I had this comic book character that I drew.
He was Dick Man.
He
defeats enemies with his dick.
It was Captain Crush.
He crushes people with his dick.
It was based on a crushed soda can. So like, it was like his face. His mask was like the can tab. Right.
Nice.
I think my cousin Rick still has some of the comics.
And you did this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I used to be able to draw
No shit.
back in the day.
I would love to see this.
Yeah, I was saying I think the nexus of me not having me not liking comic books is because I didn't have access to them. Like we had novels and stuff like that in my house, but comic books weren't something that we had.
Well, I have a whole discussion about that. We can talk about it another time. But like, I didn't get into comic books until they did the Death of Superman. Like that sounded really interesting to me, and that also happened right at the time where I got my first job.
Yeah, so you had your own access to it.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of my own personal money on comic books.
Yeah, when I had a job, I had a job at CVS, and CVS didn't have comic books because comic books are the devil. CVS used to be a place like they didn't have Maxim magazine and no Playboy, no nothing like that, because they considered themselves a family owned company. Okay. So nothing that would promote the devil. So like even like really like raunchy romance novels and stuff like that, they didn't sell any of that. But they did sell like they had novels and stuff like that. So when the publisher would come in, you know how you see books with the covers ripped off?
Yeah.
So
Oh, I used to work at a bookstore.
yeah,
So I know how that works.
yeah, so I would get like I'd basically fucking dumpster dive to get books like
okay.
that. So I would have a fucking pile of the most recent books.
Yeah, spoiler alert to the masses who don't know what we're talking about. When a store, like even like a major bookstore, like a Walden Books or a Borders or whatever,
Walden
when
Books doesn't exist anymore.
well, that's where I used to work. That's where I worked when Kristen and I met. But either way, when they would get rid of inventory, they'd rip the fucking cover off and they'd just throw the book in the fucking dumpster.
Yep.
So, and they did this a lot.
Yes. Tons of books. Tons of them. Just like, and you weren't like, it's illegal to do it because obviously the publisher's not getting any revenue, and you know then the author's not getting any revenue from it, and blah 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 blah. But I'm reading a book, not fucking committing a murder. So
Right.
fuck off.
All right, we ready to get started?
Yes.
Finish this up? Do it. And we're back again.
I could smell that burp from here.
Probably. So, a couple of the things I had. First of all, yesterday, I mentioned it before during our weeks, but I did what we call in New Jersey, the Governor's Review, where we do a massive formation of all the New Jersey National Guard units, and we do this big presentation for the Governor of New Jersey. And I've done this several times over the years. The first one I ever did was back in like the early 2000s when we had a governor, I think, was it McGreevey? The gay governor.
Yeah.
The governor of New Jersey who ended up coming out gay when he was like, somebody tried to blackmail him for an affair that he was having and all that. And he's like, I'm gay. And then he resigned, which is funny. Today, if that happened, I don't think he'd resign.
No.
You know, he'd just be like, yeah, I'm fucking gay. And because he had a wife, he had kids, you know, but at the end of the day, he
would not have resigned. There's no way he would have. Not under the current climate.
He's like, you know, I love the cock, so what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And, you know, he probably would have stayed in. But, you know, I did one for him. I did one for Chris Christie when he was in. And then I did one now for our current governor, McGreevey. And he came out and he did a good speech and everything. He came out, really good speech, came out as very military friendly, at least acted like on paper like he like knew a lot of the history and everything else. So it was good. It was a good event overall. And this is an election year for us in New Jersey, for our governor. And quite honestly, I'm probably going to vote for McGreevey coming up.
You mean Murphy?
Murphy. Oh my God. Did I say McGreevey?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, Murphy is what I meant to say.
You could vote for McGreevey. I'm sure he'd take it.
Yeah, no, but Murphy, he's, you know, for a Democrat, he's not a bad dude. And I actually did some research. I went to his election page. I looked at the hot topics that he's made part of his campaign. I went to his competitor, and the only thing that his competitor says is property taxes, which, don't get me wrong, I feel fucking sick to my stomach every time I see how much I'm paying in property taxes. But if like that's his only like main campaign focus, so it seems to me like he knows he's going to lose anyway, and he's really not making much of an effort. Whereas fucking Murphy, he's got this whole fucking list of things that he's working on or things that he's passed, things that he supports. I'm like, all right, I disagree with you on a lot of stuff, but overall, I think you're probably the best fit for what we got going on here in New Jersey. So ultimately, I'm probably going to vote for him in our governor elections this year.
I remember being at one of the governor's reviews, and it was Christie. And I think it was right after Sandy or right around the hurricane.
Oh yeah, when everybody fucking loved him.
Yeah, and I was in like we did the march by, and all I remember is at the time we had an adjutant, our adjutant general, like so basically the military leader of
the whole National Guard.
National Guard.
Yeah,
he was a large man. Short, but large.
And I know exactly who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
We're very familiar with this
Yes,
individual.
and he was nationally recognized as being a large man. Anyway, so yeah, Chris Christie, also a large man.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were marching, and I was in the fourth element, so I was on the end.
On the far right, so you
Yeah.
can see right there.
So distinctly remember as we were marching, I was like, it took 4 full strides to get past them in this thing. I'm like, all I remember is like 1, 2. Oh my god, I'm not past them yet. It was just like one of those things. Where like, I can't fucking believe I haven't passed these human beings yet. That's how big they were. Like, I didn't appreciate how big Chris Christie was until I fucking had to march past him. And that is one of the only men I know of that wore his pants at the appropriate spot. Right? He's been famous for fucking wearing his pants right at the fucking waist, like across his fucking hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
So you know exactly how fat he is because it's right there.
Yeah.
Like, and fucking pictures of him and Jerry Jones's fucking booth at the Cowboys games.
Oh yeah, he got a lot of shit for that.
Yeah, and fucking with his shirt tucked in. Wearing his fucking pants with the fucking equator. I just
Oh, the beach pics were the best part.
Oh yeah, God.
But
it's fucking brilliant.
Now, Bronco Fett brings up something interesting in the chat that we might as well address.
Yeah.
Because in New Jersey, we're one of two states, I think, that you are not allowed to pump your own gas at a public gas station, where you have a gas station attendant and they have to pump your own gas. And the way it's been explained to me, because it's been this way since I've been in New Jersey, is that at one point in like the fucking 80s, unemployment was so high in New Jersey that they passed this bill where there had to be a gas station attendant to pump gas, where you could not pump your own gas, even though it's not that fucking hard. You walk up to the machine, you slip your card in, you take the fucking nozzle out, you put it in your fucking car, and you hit go.
Right.
But I guess this was allegedly a way to create jobs in New Jersey by not allowing people to pump their own gas. Do you have any memory of this happening, or
No.
has it always been this way in Jersey for as far as you know?
No. I just happen to open it up. It's always been this way.
Okay.
In my memory, this is. I'm looking online. Said in 1949 they established a ban on self-serve gas stations. So that was well before the fucking before the gas crisis.
Okay.
In the 70s, and that they tried to overturn it and didn't. Yeah, it's a weird reality because in New Jersey, gas is generally cheaper than it is in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
In Pennsylvania, you pump your own gas. In New Jersey, somebody pumps your gas for you and you pay less for it. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. And yeah, that's one thing I've noticed since being in New Jersey, especially being somebody from California. Gas is so cheap here compared to everywhere else in the country.
Well, it's not. I mean, having just driven up from South Carolina, it's markedly more expensive depending on where you are in New Jersey, but it's cheaper down in.
Well, I mean, if you fill up
North
right off
Carolina.
the fucking highway or something, yeah. But,
Yeah. Like,
or
which
one of
is
those
where we
rest
live.
stops that's in the middle of the fucking turnpike.
Oh yeah, no, don't go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also it's all based on taxes, right?
Yeah.
Because oil prices by barrel are pretty, that you pay what you pay.
Yeah.
It's all based on this is what New Jersey charges for taxes on their import, and this is what drives the thing up. What's really interesting across the board is that New Jersey was supposed to, hey, we're lowering the fucking tax on fucking gas, so you should see price decrease at the pump. Nope. I left for fucking South Carolina. It actually went up 5 cents since I left. Like, where the fuck is this decrease at? Yeah. It's one of those things where once it's up that high, nobody's gonna fucking lower it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Look, to me, like this looming it kind of addresses a part of an issue with the energy crisis that is looming for the United States and for the world. We need more nuclear power plants.
Mm-hmm.
You need to fucking start isolating yourself. Like, if you're going to figure a way out to make a battery that's less intrusive into the fucking earth than lithium mines, but figure those batteries out and fucking build more nuclear power plants and get away from fucking coal burning.
Yeah,
and
no,
everything
I mean,
else.
I'm all for getting away from the coal power plants. Like, that seems so primitive in my eyes now.
I've read 6 different books from different scientists and different studies and everything else, and every single one of them there's no legitimate science that states that the nuclear is not safe.
Right. Yeah, and again, you talk about science deniers and all that. Well, this is the fucking science. Nuclear is the way to go. It would be fantastic if we could power the country on nothing but wind and solar, but that ain't gonna happen.
No.
It's not gonna fucking happen. I'm all for utilizing that whenever feasible, but we got to go nuclear, and I'm all for get rid of the fucking coal. Like, I've seen how much fucking pollution that shit pumps into the atmosphere.
Yeah. We've been in countries where that's all they use.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what it looks like.
Yeah. So, but adopt fucking nuclear.
You want to have all these electric cars? Then you better have nuclear power plants producing all that fucking energy, because that nuclear power plant is going to produce a lot fucking cleaner than what we're doing right now. But people are fucking stupid. Yeah. They're fucking stupid.
Yeah, much like the anti-vaxxers that are out there. It's a lot of the same thought process. You get one thing in your head and you can't see outside of your own little fucking bubble.
Fucking window lickers.
So, I have been notorious in the time that you and I have known each other for not updating my iPhones to the newest iOS.
This is well documented.
This is well documented, and for good reason, in my opinion, because in my history of owning Apple products, I have noticed that as your device gets older and you continue to constantly push these updates to newer iOSs, it drastically reduces the functionality of your fucking current device. Me personally, I think they do that shit on purpose. I think it's much like Windows, where every version of Windows, it requires so much more fucking horsepower to run it, whereas when you're on the same fucking phone and you can't update your RAM or your fucking CPU or anything else, and then they pump out these new fucking versions of iOS,
your RAM,
it drastically slows down your fucking phone. So after a certain point, I don't do it. I think it's my threshold has always been 2 years. After 2 years of owning the fucking phone, I don't update it anymore because there's no fucking point. And I've had this phone for 4 years now. And, I haven't updated it for the last 2 years. Well, I had to fucking update it recently for reasons that I don't really need to get into. But I updated to iOS 15. And wouldn't you know it, not only did my phone not brick, and not only is it still running perfectly fine, also the FBI hasn't shown up at my door and be like, sir, we need to talk. So I guess all the doom and gloom was kind of not really necessary.
You mean that was overblown?
Maybe. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. No, the phone runs great. Although I will say, why the fuck did they change the web browser to having the fucking bar on the bottom? It's why did you do that?
Somebody thought that was a good
There's
idea.
no fucking point to just moving it to the bottom arbitrarily for no fucking real reason.
So what I read in an article was that apparently with it being up top, I guess people with small hands couldn't touch up top.
Oh, God.
Put the cursor in the fucking
Of
search
course,
bar.
because again, that's what we do in this fucking society now. We cater to the lowest fucking denominator, right? We can't offend, and we have to cater to the fucking rarest of the rare fucking people with the smallest percentage of issues, but we have to make sure that those people don't feel fucking left out.
Yeah, so what you do is you open Chrome, That's what you do.
Well, yeah, because
You just go to Chrome.
yeah, I mean, I never used to use any other browser but like the fucking Safari, and it was great up until they updated the iOS, and now the bar's at the fucking bottom. Why?
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make any sense.
And for these fucking carnies with small hands, go fuck yourselves. You don't deserve to be catered to.
little picture, little bat hands.
Yeah.
Like,
Carnies
I
smell like cabbage. Small hands.
I don't know.
Anyway. So.
What's Jason see us? My fingers are too tiny for one hand use. I mean, okay.
No, you don't deserve to be seen.
Jason
I'm sorry.
says, Vicar says it's fixable in settings.
Oh. Then why not fucking make that the default and make these fucking freak shows with the small hands have to go into fucking settings and change it? Fuck them. Ugh.
Connies. Well,
Anyway,
I'm glad to see you've updated to, this part of the 21st century.
yeah, so I mean, again, the FBI can still see everything in my fucking iCloud, and
Look, so this is my world now. The fucking screen all broke.
oh,
So this is my fucking Thursday, right? I got home from the golf trip, 9.5 hours. It's supposed to take 9.5 hours. It takes me 12. I get on the fucking this is about to be a rant about fucking GPS. I get on the fucking road, and I'm like, I just want to get home. And I'm cruising along, and the fucking GPS says, "Oh, get off at this exit." And GPS is when they're tuned for like the fastest route. Sometimes it'll take you off the fucking highway for like, I don't know, like a half a mile.
oh, I'll see that all the time.
And it'll put you back on the fucking highway.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, would that save me like fucking a minute? No,
Yeah.
I'm not getting off the highway to get back on. If anything, you lose fuel economy because you're slowing down and speeding back up, right?
Sure.
So I'm like, fuck you, I'm not getting off. Wouldn't you know? As soon as I fucking say no, continuing, right into fucking like stopped traffic. I'm like, fuck, right? Sitting there in fucking traffic. Apparently, there's tractor trailer on fucking fire. I'm like, it's just
Fucking learn how to drive, you pieces of shit.
An hour and a half. I'm fucking sitting there, and they're like, the fucking ditches are too deep. This is like North Carolina. The fucking ditch is too deep. I can't fucking turn around. Like, there's nowhere to go, and there's like tractor trailers all around me. Never seen so many fucking tractor. Oh, this trucking shortage that's supposedly happening, they're all over 95.
Yeah.
They're all out there. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they're going, but they're fucking out there.
Mm-hmm.
But this fucking GPS is like, oh, no, don't tell me why. Tell me why I need to get off the fucking highway.
Tell me why.
No, the fucking show, like, hey, fuckhead. Like, because I won't use Waze anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I was a Waze guy, right? Forever. I'm like, had the crown on the fucking ghost guy, whatever. Like, I used Waze, fucking used to love it. Waze started fucking taking me places that I did not want to go.
In the ghetto.
Not even in the ghetto. How about in the cornfield? like, oh, hey, there's a fucking dirt path. Or no, here, a deer walked through here 4 days ago. Let's try and drive through here. Like, legitimately, like, up near the base, it would decide randomly to fucking try and get me off into the fucking... And I'd go in there and be like, hey, this isn't a real road. I'd provide feedback. No, fuck. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, Waze. I'm done. I'm done with you. There was good aspects to Waze, but I was like, once I'm done with you, I'm done. And Google bought them anyway, so fuck
Oh,
off.
did they?
Yeah, they
Oh,
bought
I
them
didn't.
like
I didn't
2
hear
years
that.
ago. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, fuck you. And then Google, all Google wants to do is
Lunar Girl has her Waze voice set to Boy George.
oh Jesus Christ. Didn't you know that the primary reason Siri? I'm not using Siri. I was using the Apple Roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
And you say primary reason, not if you set it for fastest route. Like, it could be any reason that's going to take you off the highway, as long as it saves you time. And the majority of the time, in my experience, has been it takes me off the fucking highway because it's going to save me so many minutes. And I just, like, I choose to ignore it, continuing.
Right.
Like, that's what I do. Now, at least Waze would I be able to look at it and be like, oh, look, there's fuck all traffic right there. I'm going to go ahead and deviate.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, fuck GPS, fuck the highway. 12 fucking hours later, so I get in there, and I'm going into work on Thursday for no fucking reason. No reason. I just enjoy having my dick kicked in. Like, oh, we're doing everything that day. It's just, it's meeting day.
You got to have a day off to like recharge.
I know that. I chose not to do it.
All right.
So my day starts with, I bring my phone into the fucking shower.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's my happy place.
Oh yeah. We know you have the sleeve and the fucking shower curtain and everything.
Oh no, it goes in straight like this. Like, there's no sleeve.
Okay.
So I put my phone up on the shelf, and the phone fell. And when it fell, there was like a razor, like some fucking pink lady razor, fell with it, and hit the floor at the same fucking time. So the razor fucking plink punches the fucking thing. Because this case is fucking brilliant. Like, I've had these mouse cases forever. Like, solid. Like, edge falls on the edge anytime soon. Like, fucking perfect. But yeah, apparently when you're trying to put a razor through it, doesn't work out so good. So now I'm fucked. I'm gonna have to have this for a while, because I promised Kathy I would live with this for a while. Live with this phone, because we're talking about converting to potentially to Verizon.
Oh really?
We'll see. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll just say that in this area, I fucking love Verizon.
Yeah.
The signal's great. I think their prices are a little bit more expensive than the competitors, but service-wise, never had an issue with any kind of service from Verizon. So I would always recommend them, but that's just me.
We'll see what happens.
All right, moving on. Real quick, have you noticed that it's darker, longer in the mornings?
Fucking hate it.
Yeah, me too. Like, when I did this governor's review, we had a 0630 showtime at the fucking field in Seagirt, which that was bad enough, but we get out there and we're in the middle of this fucking parade field, and I'm looking around and it's fucking pitch black. They don't have any fucking lights on, and the sun is nowhere near to coming up, and I'm like, when the fuck does the sun come up now? Because normally on a work day, I'm like already in my building by like 6.
Right, and you don't see the sun for fucking...
Yeah. So
you're lucky if you see it at all.
Right, but when it's not up at like 6:30, almost 7 o'clock, I'm like, when does the fucking sun come up anymore? So yeah, it's like, hello darkness, my old nemesis.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, man, it's...
Yeah, 'tis the season.
And we've got fall back coming soon, right? Doesn't that happen?
31st, I think.
Oh, Halloween? Okay.
Yeah. I think that's one.
Which then it only lasts for like a few weeks until it's like super dark in the mornings again.
Yeah, it's...
And fun fact, I'm sure we've talked about this before in the past, but my birthday is the darkest day of the year, which probably explains a lot. You know, I am the winter solstice, the day where, you know, the winter, the darkest days start going to the longest days.
He is the darkness.
Darkness. No parents. I'm gonna skip the Gina Carano thing because you can't even pull up the results anymore on Instagram. But Joe Rogan, let's talk about him. So he's been in the news a lot lately because he had that fucking the Dr. Gupta from CNN on his show a couple days ago.
Did he?
And oh yeah, big fucking thing with the vaccines and how fucking CNN like drugged Joe Rogan through the mud when he got put on that ivermectin and all that stuff when he got COVID a couple months ago.
Oh yeah.
CNN fucking dragged him through the mud. You know, they've been like, he's taking horse dewormer and all this stuff and like fabrications of the truth all around on their part. And he had their resident doctor on the show and he fucking grilled the dude. And the dude's like, yeah, they shouldn't have said that and all this other stuff. So, but the point of that is not necessarily about the content of that discussion, but it's the fact that this was the first time I'd kind of heard about Joe Rogan and his podcast in quite a while, because since he moved to Spotify, he's really been off my radar. Like I understand like why he made the deal, and obviously he's making a shitload of fucking money, why it's good for him, why it's good for Spotify. The problem is I used to consume Joe Rogan like fucking crazy back when he was on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But part of the deal that he had with Spotify, not only does the audio episodes of his show go to Spotify, but he pulled all of the fucking video from YouTube also. So he has no YouTube presence, because what I used to do is, as I'm fucking around on my computer playing a game or doing whatever, I'd have a fucking YouTube video open on another screen, and I'd have Joe Rogan's latest podcast always going on fucking YouTube.
Right.
Since this happened, I don't know fucking dick of what's been going on his fucking show, until like this big, story came out with him having the doctor on a show and everything else. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like I forgot about Rogan, when, he's kind of the pioneer of podcasting, and he's like the name when it comes to podcasting. And it just made me think, like, this move to Spotify, visibility wise, has been terrible for him, at least from my perspective.
You know what? It's from our perspective. I see what you're saying, but it's tough to tell.
Yeah.
Like, we're not seeing the metrics that he's seeing.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'm sure he made this move knowing. I look at it like what Howard looked at. Like, what did
when he moved to Sirius XM,
because he went from, okay, I have an unlimited audience for free to a paid audience, and limited. So what am I gaining? Where, and how long is that going to last? I think a lot of people went like, well, Howard's not going to last very long, because who's going to pay to listen to him? Oh, meanwhile, it's 20 years later, and there's still, not only does Howard still exist, but so does satellite radio.
Yeah.
I'm not a Howard guy, but I pay for satellite radio because I like it better than terrestrial radio.
Sure.
I just do.
Well, I mean, at this point with technology the way it is, does anybody listen to terrestrial radio anymore? Honestly,
sure, some people do.
I think it's a very slow dwindling number, but yeah, like the Rogan thing, and from Joe's perspective, like, these guys are coming to you. We're going to give you $100 million to continue doing what you're doing. Just do it for us.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah. Like, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
Like,
and Joe Rogan's an opportunist. Like, he's not dumb.
yeah.
Like, he knows.
But at the same time, like, he's been non-existent to my daily, like, news feed. And after the story broke, I went into Spotify. I logged into fucking Spotify on my web browser, and I went into his fucking his page, and he's had some really interesting guests on. Yep. And like, I had no idea he had fucking Amanda Knox on not too long ago, and I'd be really curious to hear that episode, because obviously she's got quite the story to tell, and quite frankly, I think she's like super fucking sexy. And
I think Spotify is a lot bigger than us. Like, obviously it's bigger than us, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I noticed Spotify was big when Kate was using it, and like a lot of people were using it. And I'm like, I don't use Spotify. Like, because I had Apple Music, because I wanted my music, not necessarily what everyone else's music
I do
was.
the same thing. I pay for Apple Music.
Yeah.
And, it could be a generational thing. Like, this Spotify could be what's it for the fucking, Kate's generation and the generation under her. Because she's not even, like, the youngest, hippest generation anymore.
No, she's 22 years old. I mean, that's, like... She's on the back end of all that.
Right. And this is why we called our 14-year-old into our room today. Be like, what is Squid Game? What is this? Explain this to us. It's kind of funny the way that goes. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting to bring up, like the whole Joe Rogan thing, because he is the godfather, basically, of podcasting.
I was listening on the drive back. I was listening to Rogan. He interviewed Mike Baker, he's a former CIA guy.
Okay.
And we're talking about a bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
But,
and
dude, Rogan gets interesting people on, and
he does.
And he's a fucking comedian. Like I said before, I mean, like let's tell you for what it is. Like, whatever his education level is, he's a fucking comedian.
Well, yeah, and he puts on really good shows.
Yeah.
Like, he has really good interviews with a wide variety of guests.
You know what it is? Sometimes when you're like, okay, I'm going to sit down and do some research about something that I don't necessarily know a lot about. And I'm going to ask questions because I'm genuinely curious about something, and I want to have somebody that's going to educate me because I'm curious to know about it.
Yeah.
That's going to prompt me to ask good questions. Not I'm going to have somebody on here because it's timely to have this person on here, and I'm not really interested in it. I think Rogan puts people on his show that is timely, and he's also interested.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, and I've seen segments of that Dr. Gupta episode, and poof, man, that's good shit. No matter which way you feel about.
I'm sure he's pissed. I'm sure Rogan was pissed about all that shit.
Oh yeah, no, he like took this guy to task, and he was really hard on him, and he basically got him to admit, like, yeah, my network probably should not have spun this in that way to make you look so negative, and it was good, man. Even though like he fucking eventually backpedaled, he went on to like fucking the other shows on CNN, and again they trashed Rogan the way they do. But it's because, like we said before, like if you go step out of line from any fucking talking point that they have, they're gonna drag you through the fucking mud and everything else.
Rogan's not gonna back down.
No, he's definitely not, and that's one thing that I really respect and appreciate about him. Even if I don't agree with him on everything, I can respect that. Before we get to football, because I do have a few football notes.
Yeah.
I have two other things I wanted to talk about, and then we'll finish it with football.
Okay.
First of all, Captain Kirk finally went to space. William Shatner was on a
penis.
Yeah, on a penis that got shot up into space and was technically in space for 10 minutes before they came back down to Earth.
Like 7 minutes.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big thing, but it was kind of cool, in my opinion, that it happened. But I had no fucking idea that William Shatner like had a lot of fucking heat amongst the general populace. Like, the only thing that I saw after this was people just shitting on Shatner left and right. I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, I've never, even as more of a Star Wars guy, I do like some aspects of Star Trek. I never had any hate for the guy, but people are like just dumping on him like crazy, and I'm like, where is this coming from?
I didn't see any of that, and if anything, it just makes me appreciate the fact that I am glad I don't consume what other people are doing.
Yeah.
That I can just look at this and go like, oh, okay, that was interesting. I have my own opinion about it. Like, and what's all this noise over here? Like, I was the same way. I'm like, what the fuck's all that noise? I don't care.
Yeah.
Fucking just go about my business. I saw somebody post something about George Takei and Stone Bleeds.
Oh yeah, George Takei. He's like fucking like him and Shatner have been feuding for a long time.
Years. Yeah, whatever. They're old men.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. What if Shatner? Could you imagine? First of all, Bezos, like, from my understanding, like his space, aka his air quote space program, is not necessarily the best, like, most robust fucking space program. I mean, you're basically it's a fucking amusement park ride.
Right.
You put a 90-year-old man in a fucking spacecraft, shot him up in a fucking rocket, pulled at least 4 Gs.
Mm-hmm.
At least.
And then experienced 0 Gs when he was up there.
Right.
And then came back down.
And then fucking came back down. Hit the ground at 17 miles an hour, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he gets out of the fucking thing, and he obviously had this emotional moment, because who wouldn't?
Right.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Has this fucking huge moment, and all Bezos wants to do is celebrate the fact that he just fucking put Star Trek fucking commander in space, and he wants to have a champagne shower.
Right.
It's a PR thing, and brilliant move by Bezos if you're going to do it, because then he could say he did it. But cool for Shatner. I mean, he didn't have to pay a nickel, right?
Yeah.
He gets fucking, he showed up, he gets strapped in, and fucking goes, and if he dies, he dies. Basically,
and that's the thing. Like, if I was Shatner, like, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
At 90 years old, what the fuck do you have to lose?
Yeah.
If you die of a heart attack on the way up,
yeah,
whatever.
Going to space.
Yeah. Like, nothing to lose from his perspective. Such a good story. Like, this should have been, like, the feel-good story of the week. But instead, there's just, again, all this negativity around it. It's like, why? Why are you being so negative about this?
Yeah. For me, it was I wanted to make sure that they didn't kill him, because that would have been fucking...
But even if he died,
no, if
like what?
There's a difference between if they killed him because of negligence or if he died in the flight. It's
Right.
two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Bezos's fucking rocket Blue Origin program or whatever fucking takes a shit on the launch pad or something like that because of this publicity stunt, then I have huge issues with that.
Sure.
But if he has a heart attack, whatever, what are you gonna do? Obviously, you're not vetting him for his fucking medical clearance. Like, and now at this point, what you've really done is you've established, like, okay, here's what is this the F limit? Like 90 years old, whatever his health conditions are, like pre-diabetic, 90 years old, certain heart conditions. Like, do you even bother giving somebody an EKG? Just say fuck it, like you're strapped in.
Probably.
Like,
Yeah.
you must be this tall to ride this ride type thing. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so, all right, I'm going to be an asshole. I'm going to be an asshole about this.
Okay.
Is it space?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a whole other discussion.
Is it really, like, would I do it? Yes, I would do it because it would be a perspective of Earth that I've never had. Would I consider? A, you're not an astronaut.
No.
That you can't. If somebody tried to brand you that way, I'd immediately shut that off. But I'd love to see that perspective in space. As people that have flown, like at the highest I've ever flown is up at, I think we went up to 430 on a fucking tanker once.
I think I was like 400 or 410.
Yeah. So 43,000 feet above the Earth.
Yeah.
Which is it's pretty fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
The air gets a little squirrely up there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Airplane really doesn't want to do much up there. But you have that perspective, right? So to have a perspective of 5 times that altitude,
Yeah.
and to see the blue edge of the atmosphere,
And
to
that was
see
the big thing.
blackness of space.
Like to leave the atmosphere, right? To leave that blue, like Shatner described, and go into like just pure blackness.
Yeah.
At that point, that there's something to say to that.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that, but I don't think it's space.
Yeah.
I don't think it's space. I think it's a amazing fucking view.
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing view, but I think we really need to stop calling it space travel. I think you need to stop using space travel as a fucking marketing term. And
Sure.
I think you need to go, okay, we need to call it something else.
Right.
But don't. What's going to happen? Like, we haven't even like talked about, not that we would, but the International Space Station had that incident over the weekend with the fucking, that Soyuz craft. They had another incidental fucking burn that's put the ISS in an awkward fucking, it took it out of position.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So it happened once back in July, I think, and it like basically flipped it upside down. Well, it happened again.
Oh, shit.
That fucking right now on the International Space Station is like a film crew that they sent up in the Soyuz.
Mm-hmm.
So they have like a camera crew and an actor, and then the pilot. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So they went up, and they were supposed to come down. I think they came down. Vickers can fucking can correct me on that, but they were up there. When you start, it's the most dangerous fucking thing a human being can be doing is putting it, like, humans don't belong there.
Yeah.
So putting yourself in an environment where you don't belong, it's so much attention to detail has to happen, so much redundancy, all these other things. If you're going to be so flippant about doing that, we're going to put you in a rocket. We're going to send you up to a point where you're going to hit apogee and come back down. And we're going to do this on a consistent basis for money and consider it space flight. I think that's a huge foul. I think space flight has to have a certain credence to it. Otherwise it's going to turn into something that is going to get people killed. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Okay. No, that's a good point. I hadn't heard about the space station story, though.
That Soyuz returned yesterday, according to Vickers.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
All right. Real quick, before we get into the football stuff, we mentioned during the 1991 music episode that one of my top songs of that year was a remix of the EMF song Unbelievable. You're unbelievable.
Oh!
So I bought the CD single, as you can see. Now, the first time I had listened to this was on cassette, but, you know, they were releasing CD singles at the time. I had it on a cassette single back in the day. After we taped that 1991 episode, I went on to eBay and I found the EMF Unbelievable CD single from 1991, and I bought it like $3 or something, and another $3 for shipping or some shit.
Ridiculous.
But I have it, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna fucking rip this thing, and I'm gonna have the music digitally forever. And then all of a sudden I realize none of the computers I own have a fucking CD drive anymore. This laptop, my desktop that's in the house, the desktop that just fucking fried a few weeks ago, that had a goddamn CD player in it. Not gonna do me much good right now. But most computers these days don't even come with fucking CD drives anymore, which
It's all external.
yeah, it just kind of goes to show you where we are with like storage and everything else. It's all about like the USB drives.
And it's been a minute too. I mean,
Oh yeah. And I'm just saying, but again, this is what we came up with. You know, we like CD when we first started getting into computers in the mid to late 90s. CD drives were still like new. They were big. It was like a whole new venture, a whole new world. Because, you know, we were still dealing with like the fucking 3.5-inch fucking floppy disks.
Yep.
And like CDs, it was all still upcoming technology.
CDs. I can remember when we got CDs and were able to use the 3.25 to fucking as the boot disc to off the CD.
Oh yeah.
So you could actually load Windows off the CD and not fucking be just hot swapping fucking discs the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking.
Fuck.
I gave the chat a challenge to fucking come up with a name for these short flights.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, I thought it was interesting because I get this fucking CD. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna rip this and fucking put it on my phone and everything. I'm like, I don't have a CD drive connected to any active computer that I have right now to fucking do that, which is just hilarious. But you know what? I don't care. I still have it, and it's a good fucking song. And fuck you.
Keep it in a spot where it's not gonna get warped or anything. And
Oh yeah, and I'm not gonna get rid of it. I'll keep this fucking CD until the day I die, and then I'm sure my kids will just throw it in the fucking trash, and that'll all be forgotten once I'm dead. But
whatever.
Yeah,
You had it.
indeed
You
I
enjoyed
did.
it.
Maybe my grandkids will appreciate it. I don't know. Yeah, that was something else I was gonna bring up. You know, you talk about like life and death and my obsession with death. The thing that gives me even like a small glimmer of hope is the fact that my kids are going to start having kids of their own. And I'm going to have these grandkids that hopefully I can kind of like fucking mold and, you know, introduce them to things that I was into. And, you know, kids love their fucking grandparents and everything else. And I guarantee you, I will be the best grandfather in the fucking world. I am going to spoil the shit out of any grandkids that I have. And quite frankly, my oldest, Rob, is 18 right now. If he came to me and Kristen right now and said, oh, I got this girl pregnant, I'd be like, sweet. Yeah, I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah.
And everything else, you know, like I would not be upset at the least right now to find out that I had grandkids coming.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, honestly, like it's. Hang on. We may have an audio issue.
Uh-oh.
Hearing a weird popping sound on the audio like every 5 seconds.
All right, do a thing. Like reset your thing. All right. Hopefully that helps.
Can you hear it now? Los clicos. Yeah, I you know what's funny? When you get to that point, it's like, oh god, no grandkids yet. You know, get yourself established first. Get yourself. Now we're at the other side. It's like, okay, grandkids will be okay. Grandkids will be okay. And then you start worrying, like, what if they don't have grandkids? Oh no.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's the thing I'm more concerned about. I'm more concerned about these fucking generations where they're like, we don't want to have kids. We don't. oh, I hate this fucking new narrative that's going around where it's like I'm not gonna bring kids into this world with fucking climate change and global warming and blah 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 blah. Fuck you.
Well, then don't.
Yeah.
You'd be doing a lot of people a favor.
Yes, but I just hope that my kids don't fall into that fucking crowd.
Well, they won't.
And I want to say something so bad, but I don't
they-
want to.
they-
But I don't want to get canceled either, so I won't say that.
They won't. They won't.
But-
look, it's
Like, I just hope that my boys all fall in love with naturally born females, and you know, are able to procreate. So, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to grandkids, and yeah, I don't care. If my middle son Adam comes to me in 2 years when he's 16, is like, ugh, I knocked up a girl, I'd be like, oh no.
oh no.
Anyway,
That's
So-
really funny.
yeah.
That's good though. Don't let them hear that.
Yeah. All right. Football.
We're gonna talk about football.
We're going to finish the show talking about football. So anybody who's not here for the football talk, you can leave now because we're going to talk about football and then we're going to close things out.
Football, talking about football.
And I mean, quite frankly, this discussion's probably going to be about the same. Both of our teams are kind of
Blah.
disappointing. Now, I'm not saying this to be an asshole, but your team, I think that you kind of expected this to be sort of a rebuilding year, as they call it. Whereas expectations for my team were actually kind of high going into the season. Those have not come to fruition, and I've already kind of written off the 49ers as like, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, pretty boy Garoppolo is.
Injured again. Go figure. Oh, injured once more.
You know what? You know what really sucks, and I hope Kristen's not listening to this, but I think about how smart is Bill Belichick. All right, let's think about this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is me being a football guy, not necessarily. I'm going to take my fucking Philadelphia fan hat off, and I'm going to put my football hat on.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Belichick gets Brady real late, in the draft. He's basically a nobody.
Yeah.
We know who Brady is now.
Yeah, he
right?
lucked into him.
Yeah. Or not, right? Who knows? Belichick, at the same time, gets Garoppolo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ends up getting rid of him.
Well, and
Why?
now here's the thing, because Belichick thought Garoppolo was like his next guy. Like
Did he, though?
he was positioning him to be the next guy, thinking Brady was going to be done anytime.
Did he though? So this is what makes me think about that. So you watch Belichick, and now Garoppolo leaves, doesn't have this success, right?
Well, he came in as a backup to Brady at times when he was injured
Right.
and did fairly well, which is why they were able to ask a premium for him when they
Sure.
traded him to the 49ers.
They sold him at a premium.
Yeah.
So, okay, so Garoppolo gets out, doesn't do shit, but they're better off because they got Mac Jones. Now,
Well, after they got rid of Garoppolo, Brady still won. He went to 2 Super Bowls and won one of them.
yeah, I know. I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
So, with Brady gone, right? They pick up Mac Jones, quarterback at Alabama.
Which I think they looked into him too.
So last year's or 2 years ago draft, right? Eagles draft Jalen Hurts, right? Quarterback, former Alabama guy, Oklahoma guy, supposed to be good, but was a Nick Saban throwaway, right?
Right.
Belichick didn't look at him, like kind of passed over. Knew he needed somebody, but passed him over. Right, went for another Alabama quarterback, got Mac Jones. Now Mac Jones is in there, who actually looks like somebody you're going to build a franchise around.
Sure.
He's a good-looking quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's a good football player too. So my point is that I think I want Belichick to fucking suck. I want these teams to suck. But I look at some of this stuff and go like, man, there's some really. I think there's some football sense in there. As much as I don't want there to be
In Belichick?
in Belichick,
Like he might actually know what he's doing.
there might actually be some fucking smarts there because right now with Jalen Hurts, like all these fucking Philly idiots that want to say that Jalen Hurts is the guy. Look at him, look at him run, look at him run. Yeah, look at him run. Look at him run. What is that gaining us? Look at him underthrow fucking people. Look at him not that motherfucker can throw it into a trash can 25 yards away.
Yeah.
Like I just don't know. He's not going to get better. Like I could send him to a fucking quarterback coach right now. You're not going to fix his fucking mechanics. Like his feet are in the wrong fucking position. His eyes aren't looking right. He looks stupid. He just looks dumb. Like, and then he sits on the sidelines and doesn't look at fucking. He's not looking at a Surface Pro. He's not looking like. Come on, dude. And right now the Eagles are fucking stuck with him.
Yeah,
they're stuck with him because Jeffrey Lurie and fucking Howie Roseman they bring this kid in, right? And that they fuck Carson Wentz up mentally, just completely screwed him up, like Wentz over.
Yeah,
destroyed the fucking kid.
It didn't help that he was like habitually injured.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to argue the Wentz injury, but stuff at all. I mean, you're going to get injured when you don't have an offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, you just are.
Sure.
There's no offensive line. Like, when you have 16 different offensive linemen in your season, like 16 different ones, you never have the same starting lineman except for your center. That's
probably
a problem.
Not good.
You're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Your quarterback's going to get hurt. I mean, that's a fact. So, regardless of all that, you have Wentz is starting to come into his own, and Hurts not so much. So now the Eagles are going to have to play out this fucking year to prove that Hurts is not the guy.
Yeah.
And then we're going to draft another quarterback with Howie Roseman, who needs to fall in an age tree and die. He needs to go. His philosophy, like everything. This needs to be the nail that closes his fucking coffin. Be like, look, we rode this out. I don't want this new coach. This can't be his resume. Is with this fucking kid because this kid's mechanics are fucking terrible. He's just not a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Joe Flacco in there right now. I really would, and that's saying something, people. Or
I mean,
Uncle Rico. Put fucking Uncle Rico in there.
Yeah.
I want to see somebody who can stand in the pocket for a second. I want to see somebody who could actually fucking have some throwing mechanics.
Yeah.
Like I watched this kid play the position, and he's not good.
And it's funny you mentioned Mac Jones too, because for the longest time, like he was based on the pick that the 49ers had this last draft, a lot of like speculators had him going to the 49ers. And for some reason they passed on him for this fucking kid they got now, which I'm kind of in the same boat as Jalen Hurts right now with this kid, and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I think there's this thing that the running quarterback, there's this sexiness to the running quarterback, right?
In their like first year or two.
Yeah, the Justin Fields gets in there. Like,
well, yeah, you go look at Michael Vick in his first couple of years.
Well, think about this. Michael Vick, right? In that draft class, Michael Vick, well, he was in the same draft as fucking Drew Brees, right? And got drafted above. I think Vick was the number 1 pick in that draft. Brees, I think, was the 16th pick, if I remember correctly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking Rain Man was some shit.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I just remember Vic being like, he was like the greatest show at the time for his first couple of seasons.
But what Vic had was a fucking cannon.
Yeah.
He had an unbelievable arm. He had unbelievable arm strength. And that made up for a lot of other issues where when you're rolling out, like Jalen Hurts rolls out, he doesn't have the arm strength to fucking throw the ball 25 yards.
Yeah.
Whereas Vic could roll out the same way and fucking throw the ball 80 yards. The dude was insane.
Yeah.
He could probably still do it. Like he was a phenom when it came to that.
Yeah.
As a lefty, no less.
Right.
So the running quarterback, you need somebody, I hate to say it, you need somebody like the Daniel Jones. Like, look at Dak Prescott. Look at Justin Herbert. Look at these quarterbacks that, yeah, they can run. They have more natural athleticism, but they're not running quarterbacks.
Right.
Right. You need to be able to move and get out of the pocket and do something once you get out of the pocket, but that's to extend the play. That's to get receivers open, not to get 160 yards of rushing, because that works in college. That gets you Heisman votes.
Yeah.
That doesn't fucking work in the NFL. That's going to get you killed by a linebacker.
What would you have considered McNabb?
He wasn't a running quarterback.
But he scrambled a lot though,
Yeah,
and
he
he was good, especially in his younger years. Man, he could run that fucking ball.
Yeah. But look at him run though. It was like, he was a big dude.
He was.
He was a big dude running, and that was back in the day too, when like quarterback pads weren't as small as they are now.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked kind of like a linebacker running.
Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to bring up is any thoughts on Chucky and the whole email scandal? Because I know ever since he re-signed with the Raiders, he did that $10 million contract. You've had some
$10 million.
right. Well, 10 million times 10, so $100 million. Like, if you had any thoughts on that?
So when it happened, I wasn't tracking at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was on the golf course and I saw the story come across. I'm like, what the fuck? Fact is, Brinzer texted it to me.
Yeah.
I don't know the background for it. I mean, if some of the shit... Oh, should I answer it? It's Kate.
Yeah.
Hey, Kate, you're on the podcast.
Talk later, bye.
She's not in the mood.
She's having none of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about it to really make a call on that. I think
well, it's one of those things that, like, the main moral of this story is even your personal emails that you send from one person to another are no longer safe. So I'm probably fucked at this point. If anybody like has any like axe to grind with me, then my private emails and text messages and stuff to people are public domain, then I'm screwed. So whatever.
Well, and that's like, there's no context to anything anymore. There's like, it all depends.
But yeah, no, it's a shame to see his tenure end this way, because the Raiders were actually kind of on the way up finally.
They were finally starting to get their shit together.
Like in his third or fourth year with them at this point. And I mean, he's made his money, and you know, I don't think it's as simple as just like, I resign. Oh, okay, we'll see you later, buddy. No, they still have to like reconcile his fucking contract and everything. So
honestly, I don't know. I really wish I knew more about what was going on, and I want to have a visceral reaction to it. Like,
yeah.
But in reality, it's, look, if the dude was, if you're gonna like be in personal emails and be a dick and be fucking racist in personal emails, like between NFL GMs or between other people, like, and the shit has to come out, like, because didn't it come out because like the Washington football team got raided?
Yeah, Washington was being like investigated.
Right. So you're sending this out to other people, like it's not even internal to your own organization. Like if you're that comfortable by sending something like that, you wouldn't. It's okay. That's you. That, I mean, it's really hard to backpedal from that. Like, oh well, you know, that was a joke. That wasn't the context of the thing. Really tough to...
but at the same time, like, if I send an email directly to davidmartin@gmail.com,
right,
I expect that email to stay between the two of us.
Yeah.
You know, and I would never imagine, you know, some fucking, you know, FBI comes to your house and bangs down your door for child porn, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, also Jason Roskam said that, you know, these people should all be, you know, euthanized or whatever. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, but if it was, you know, David Martin at, you know, us.af.mil.
Yeah, no, that's a different story.
It's you work for the government. It's public domain. Like anything that you're going to put in through that pipeline, you have to assume is going to be, you know, consented to. Yeah,
like at least anybody who has any sort of authority over that domain, that email domain, right? Yeah, it is what it is. So, lesson learned, people. So, be cognizant of who you're sending emails to.
Yeah, it's you want to say like, all right, don't be racist, kids, but you know, this yeah, don't be fucking racist. Don't be a douchebag.
Mhm.
And then, use your brain. Like, if you're a kid right now and you think that your social media shit won't come back to haunt you at some
Oof.
point, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Until you're in charge. Because you're probably 8 to 10 years away from being in charge.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's not going to matter. Until us old fucks get out of the way, because we're still part of that older regime where we still have this like idea of what our right and wrong looks like.
Yeah.
And some things on social media still look like right or wrong. Whereas, somebody a generation from us is going to look at us like, oh, well, that was on your fucking Snapchat 10 years ago. We don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas our generation, there's still going to people that are going to not see it that way. So when you're in charge, then it'll be different. But right now, it's still a little squirrely.
Yeah. Be mindful. Be mindful of what you're sending out there, basically.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it.
Yeah. I got to pee again.
Yeah. So we're gonna close this out, and we will be back on November 8th.
Yes.
Topic TBD. A certain person whose birthday is that day wants to pick the topic.
Right.
It's got to fall under certain criteria, so we'll see. I am sure that our social media director, Luna Girl, will keep you all abreast of what is going on with show topics and start times and whatnot. But stay tuned. We are not gone forever. The hiatus has been nice. We're going to have one more hiatus, and then we'll be back to business as usual.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us for this long. And until we speak again, Dave and everybody else, yeah, go fuck yourself. Whoops.
Okay, now what do I click?
Alrighty. Okay. Wait, did she text you too? Okay. Just go. Alrighty. Did I miss anything in the chat? Seriously, Jason, get the thing in the link I posted. The thing in the link you posted, that means nothing to me. Oh, shit. Yeah, Dave missed his notes. Apparently he had to pee. What do you mean you need to talk to Dave privately? It's bullshit. Fuck, yeah, he didn't do his Red 5 notes. Whoops. I will say, we'll save that for an after show topic.
What?
Well, first of all, you forgot to do your Red 5 notes. And Kelly is very upset.
Fuck!
And she pretty much just said you're the worst person in the world.
I could do them right now.
You could, but your audience is going to be far more limited.
Well, you could add them to the fucking audio.
I've already stopped the audio, and I've already started mixing the tracks, and
Oh well. I will add. I will.
Apparently, Kristen needs to talk to you privately.
Okay. I downloaded the Sims game pack, A Journey to Batuu, A Star Wars Journey. It's really cool. You can do missions either as a scoundrel, First Order, Resistance.
Is this what Kate wanted?
It would be cool for you guys to do a review, maybe stream.
Who's that from?
Kate,
Okay, that is what she wanted.
all the notes.
There's a Sims Star Wars pack.
Apparently.
I actually loved the original Sims. Did you ever play the first Sims from 2000?
Don't think
It was PC only. The first Sims, even Sims 2, I thought were really good fucking games. Never really got into the Sims 3 or anything that came after that, but I really did enjoy the first two Sims games. your person would always get upset and they'd like fucking just piss in the middle of the living room floor and they'd be yelling at you that they were hungry and it was pretty crazy.
Kate's rolling into The Sims. I never got into it. It's too boring.
You're boring.
I can be. Like right now, she wants to.
What?
She said she wants to talk to me in private right now.
Apparently. Well, there she is. Do you need to talk to him like without me here?
Yes. I mean, like when you're walking out. I'll
All
just
right.
walk out.
Oh, I mean, I guess I'll go into the house and pee. Like, how long is this going to take?
Well, you're on the air. That's not private.
Oh. That's true. Well, I mean, this is the after show, so like when we're done with the after show? Oh,
He's gotta leave sometime.
Facts.
I mean, we got a couch. He can sleep here.
I don't want to.
But you could, is what I'm saying.
It's possible.
It is possible.
I could sleep anywhere. That's possible.
Anywhere?
Anywhere.
I couldn't sleep anywhere.
Have you seen some of the places we've slept?
Fucking mosquito nets and yeah, dirty ass fucking mattresses.
When I
and-
have to bring that that sheet cocoon.
oh yeah,
Fucking just
oh
be
yeah,
in.
like Malawi fucking flashbacks right now,
Isn't that fucking thing awesome?
What is it?
and it's heavy.
Yes, it is. That's cool.
From Costco.
What?
I don't know if Vickers. I don't think Vickers is still in the chat, but
I don't know if we know anybody who works at Costco.
yeah, Vickers might as well work there because he's there all the time.
Which one?
I don't know. Well, he lives in Pemberton.
Okay, so he probably goes to Mount Laurel.
Probably,
Yeah,
since that one is the closer one.
yeah.
Mine's the better one, though.
Cherry Hill is better.
Better.
It's newer.
And better.
Better. Butterfinger's better. Get a Butterfinger. No? Nothing?
No.
It was a commercial back in the 90s.
I wasn't allowed to watch TV in the 90s.
Oh my god.
It's 300 degrees in here.
You can turn
Right?
the heat off.
Yeah, it's like
Turn it off then.
rainforest in here.
He's like
Chocolate rain.
I'm so hot. I'm so cold.
Yeah, I was freezing like as we started. Like this is like not interesting at all for the after show people, by the
Like,
way. We're like not even
There's
acknowledging.
two people in there.
Yeah.
It's probably you and me. Oh no, we're on the same stream.
Yeah.
So it's probably you and Lunar Girl.
I still don't know what Stonebleeds is talking about, the link that he posted.
Oh, to an external CD drive in the cantina,
Oh.
which you could have just asked me because I have them.
Well, that's an Apple thing though.
I can still rip it to my computer.
Mm,
Did you save me something?
was I supposed to?
I asked you to when you said okay.
Dave's got some left.
Yeah, you shouldn't drink that, honestly.
Uh,
It's warm and it's probably mostly backwash. It's Lunar Girl and Stonebleeds.
okay. I've noticed that Brady's still hasn't been touched
Yeah,
this week.
yeah.
All 4 Brady's.
My 4 Brady's. All the same Brady.
They are. It means I'll never run out. It's not like I'll get one of each. I'll just get the same one 300 times.
God, I want that to happen so bad. You have no idea how bad I want that to happen. What if I just took one? I like that pregnant pause there. Like,
So, since we're all here, let's talk about the November 8th topic. Do we still want to let Kristen pick a topic?
I don't have a problem with that.
All right. Do you want to be on the show for the topic?
I hadn't planned on that. I mean, I could, but it'd just be enough
Jason
to.
and I have aversion to sharing a show with people.
That is true.
I
Like
don't have to be
we
on
we
it. I just.
we feel like it's really good when it's just the two of us.
I agree, you guys. It's perfect with two people. So.
Yeah. All right. So, but again, you have to pick a topic that we don't have to spend a lot of time researching because I get back that Saturday and I still have to work Sunday and Monday. So,
I have 3 show ideas.
okay.
Do you want them now?
Sure.
Okay. First of all, none of these coincide with an anniversary, so
That's fine.
That's- I'm
They
just-
don't have to.
no. Because if I don't tell you that, you'll get on the computer and be like, "Let's see if these coincide with it." Now I just save you the trouble. They don't. Number 1.
You're making that noise? What's that noise?
Number 1. The Pee-wee movie,
Which one?
Big Adventure?
Big Adventure,
Okay.
Classic.
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 Yeah.
Number 2. Either Airplane or Naked Gun or both on the same show.
All right. We've talked about that before.
Yes.
I think that would be an interesting show topic, but I think we would need research time.
Yeah.
I'd want to rewatch both because I have an opinion. Like if we do like one versus the other, like which is the better,
That would
funnier
be
movie.
fun. That's a good idea.
But for the purposes of November 8th, not going to happen.
Okay. Number 3, Nickelodeon in the 80s and 90s.
Again, that would
That's a research show.
Yeah,
That's
'cause-
definitely a heavy research.
because we would need to watch that documentary. We'd need to do some research and like look at some of the other shows from Nickelodeon and everything else. So
Those are my 3.
What was the first one again?
Pee-wee.
Pee-wee's
I
Big
could come up with other topics if you guys aren't crazy about it, because it
Is-
is your show.
is Pee-wee's Big Adventure streaming anywhere?
That I do not know.
That would be easier because I mean I remember like so many details from that movie, and I remember like what I was, the first time I saw it, and
It's been a hot minute.
You could drink shots of tequila during the show.
I don't drink tequila.
Aw.
Neither does Luna Girl,
Yeah.
because tequila makes you pregnant. I still have to work on that T-shirt.
Yeah.
I
I
don't-
mean,
I don't. The tequila that I would drink is way too expensive because it doesn't taste like tequila.
I can come up with more ideas.
Okay, yeah, only because
I like Pee-wee,
I do, but I would still want to watch it again.
especially after Jason gets arrested for masturbating in front of the person that he's going.
That would be relevant. That would
Yes.
be a very relevant topic.
Show
So,
research.
yeah,
Yeah, there you
2
go.
birds with 1 stone.
yeah. What is the penalty for public masturbation?
You'll find out.
Indeed,
What state is it?
Georgia.
They don't care.
They don't care. There you go.
Or they're gonna fucking like lock me up for life. One of the two.
Eh. Where did My Cousin Vinny take place?
Yeah,
Al Green.
Anyone who gets stuck in the mud in Alabama knows.
that's true. Yeah, I wouldn't fuck around in Alabama. I think I'd rather fuck around in fucking Singapore before I'd fuck around in Alabama. So,
Did you ever see Deliverance?
parts of it.
I just finished the audiobook. I didn't know a thing about it. Except the,
Why would-
Squid.
Squeal like a pig.
Yeah, honestly, that's
You sure got a purty mouth.
yeah. It's the only parts I remember about that.
Yeah.
So
So, be a great way to end the after hours.
it's fucking hot in here, dude.
It is.
It's like exhaustingly hot in here.
All right. Well, we ready to close it up then?
Yes, since
All right.
we were on for 3 hours and
It was a long time.
was a long time. And I need to watch my team come back against Ivo. And oh god,
I have no hope.
nope, I'm down to 4%. Shit.
I am at still 7.
Julio 0 points. Well, Josh Allen hasn't done shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to close it up then. Thank you, everybody who's still with us. We will see you on November 8th.
Yes, and I'll record something off separate with all the read stuff. I'll just post it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Just
Instagram.
throw up a StreamYard and do like a 5-minute stream. Like shouting out the
Yeah,
Red 5 guys.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
You could do that.
Yeah,
You have the technology.
I could use StreamYard to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Do that.
Do it. Make the sacrifice.
And I can do it offline too, so I can just make the recording and then post it,
You could do that also.
so it doesn't have to be quite as awkward.
Whatever works for you, my man.
I'll do it in voice. Doing it
Do the whole thing in a voice.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, plan it out.
All right.
Make it happen.
Ciao.
Peace, bitches.
See ya.